Welcome, students. As you're joining, we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward to seeing how you're giving your presentations. Don't forget to rename yourself as you're joining with your team name and then dash first and last name. That way we are able to see and identify which ones of you are. So looking forward to seeing you in a few minutes. We'll get started promptly at 2 o'clock. Again, students, as you're joining, please be sure that you are renaming yourself with your team name and first and last name after the dash. You'll see it in some of the other team names already, but please make sure that you do that. Again, everyone, welcome to the final presentation for this Aggies event that's been focused on solving problems with the NSA. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. For those of you who are students and are part of a team, please be sure that you rename yourself so that we get a chance to know what team you're on. Put your team name first, then a dash, then your first and last name. And that way we can know who's to promote whenever we're having ready for you to put on your video. We'll get started in just a few minutes. For those of you who don't know how to change the name on the screen, go into the box that your screen is, and you'll see in the upper right-hand corner a blue set of boxes. One might say mute, and the other one will have 3 different dots. Click the 3 different dots, and it will say, it'll say rename, and you'll have an opportunity to rename yourself there. So again, put your cursor in the middle of your picture, click on the 3 dots, and use rename to be able to know how to rename yourself. Eloise, you said your picture doesn't show. I don't think we have a picture to click on. All right, then click on the bottom. I can't see what a panelist might look like, but there should be. Some of you who have had an opportunity to rename yourself, if y'all could put into our chat somebody who's been able to rename themselves, please let me know how you've been able to do it, and I will. Okay, here, I'm going to copy this. Somebody just said how to do it, and I'll send this to everybody. And somebody says I changed, that they were able to, I had to log out and everything, order, change my name, but I can't see it now. Confirm that it's correct. Cois. Brandon, yours is correct. I see it. All right, here are some instructions as to how to do it. They're used by going through the app first. So Amir and Beryl have been able to change their names.
We got 2 biz wiz.
Yes, Carson, your name is correct. That is correct. So I can see it properly. Yes, Jeremy, yours is correct. Sophia, yours is correct. Team 3, Tara, that's good enough. Actually, I'd rather see not team 3, but just Tara and then Sophia. Nathan, your name is not correct. Gregory, your name is not correct. Karchevel, your name is correct. You should be able to, hopefully, you should be able to go to the participants and put your name in. All right, somebody from BizWiz, please put your team numbers in, put your team names in chat so that we can see them, so that we make sure that we promote the right people. You'll have some time to do that, Don. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you to this virtual Aggies event. This has been a very momentous, occasion, and we have worked through a number of technical challenges, but honestly, overall, this has been a great activity and a great experience. You guys have done an outstanding job of working with us and getting this all together and helping us work through the kinks and bugs. Quite frankly, we've been amazed at what you've been able to accomplish all virtually, and we're really looking forward to the presentations. My name is Rodney Boehm, and I'm happy to be the host of this Aggies event and the participation and your participation. We've been working together all weekend, and I really look forward to seeing your presentations. We'll be going in an order, and we put that order in teams earlier today, so we'll be going in that order. Just to remind the students that when you have the ability, and we will be promoting you at your time for your presentation. Right now, you're panelists, and the only thing as a panelist you can see is what we're broadcasting, and you'll see the screen. You'll see that there's 6 windows open right now. When it comes to your time to present, we will promote you to a panelist, and we'll ask you to turn your audio on. Then we will have your presentation queued up and ready to go. And we'll ask you to introduce yourself, and I'll get you to introduce yourself, and please keep your videos off at that point in time. We will then play your 90-second video, and after your 90-second video plays, then you have an option. You have an option to continue keeping your video off, but keeping your audio on, and then giving your presentation. Or as each one of you does your presentation, you can turn your video on, and that way you would be showing up in the screen as well as the slide. It's really up to you, however you'd like to be able to do this. So that's how we'll be able to work this all out. The judges, as you see on the screen right now, I'm going to allow them and ask them to introduce themselves in a few minutes. But after your presentation, we're going to ask you as students to turn on your videos so that everyone is on the screen at the same time. I'll ask the judges to turn on their videos as well, and they will then be able to ask you questions live. Each one of you will, each team will have 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes, I will cut you off at the end of 10 minutes for your presentation. We'll then have 5 minutes for questions and answers. And I'll cut the judges off. And I believe me, I've had to cut the judges off multiple times because they have so many questions and I have to cut them off. So we will be doing that. In the background, the judges will be filling out a form and doing the scoring. So after the presentation and after the question and answer, we will have an opportunity to take a little bit of a pause and let the judges complete their work. And then we'll move to the next team. We'll start by doing 5 teams, and then we're going to take a short break, and then we'll do the last 4 teams. At the end, it'll take a short break to make sure that I have all the scores in and everything calculated, and once that's done, we'll come back online. So just stay in the webinar, we'll come back online, and we'll announce the winners, the 3rd place, the 2nd place, and the 1st place winner. When we do that, we're going to ask and we'll promote the winning teams to panelists again, and we're going to ask you to turn on your videos so that we can get a little bit of a conversation with you so that we can see how and ask you a few more questions about what it felt like and just celebrate with you. This is a very, very difficult competition, and again, the judges are going to have an incredibly difficult period in making sure that they understand who's going to walk away with the top prize. All right, that's enough of me. And hold on 1 second.
Still trying to get everybody on.
We're going to have the judges to introduce themselves. And as the judges get a chance to introduce themselves, we will make sure that we have the presentations ready to go. So, Carla, why don't you get started, and I'll call you out so that it makes it easy, and we'll be doing it in my screen. So thanks a lot, Carla.
Thanks, Rodney. Hello, everyone. I'll wave so you know I've got my mouth covered. I just want to say, so I'm Carla Seal, and I have been very fortunate to be the academic liaison for Texas A&M University for the past several years. And I've been fortunate to be involved with this event as the coordinator for the last 3 times we've done it. So this is our 3rd. And I have found each event to be just completely rewarding and just amazed at what the students are able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. So this year I get to be a judge, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the final presentations. I'll pass it back to you, Rodney.
Okay, thanks, Carla. And let's now go to Beth Richards. Beth.
Hello, thanks, Rodney. Thanks, Carla. Got involved with this event last year, and so this is my 2nd time around, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing everyone's projects and what you've come up with. I think last year is a good indicator of all of the creative ideas and things that folks came up with. So I'm really excited about doing that and seeing that. Not so excited about having to score them, but that's part of the deal. So I'm the Senior Computer Science Authority at NSA. So I'm responsible for computer science across the agency and across our global enterprise. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with.
Oh, Beth, outstanding. That's great. Thank you so much for, again, supporting this whole activity. All right, Dave, how about you?
Hey, thanks, Rodney. Looking forward to today. This is my first time doing this. I'm Dave Harris, and I'm NSA's Chief Data Scientist. So really looking forward to all of the innovation that you guys are going to show us today. Thanks. Back at you.
Thanks, Dave. Mim, how about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Mim Garant. I'm NSA's Senior Intelligence Analysis Authority. This is really exciting for me because I love the ideas that students generate. They're things that we haven't thought of, and I'm really looking forward today. This is my first time judging. So thanks for letting me participate.
Ma'am, thank you so much. All right, Amy, how about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Brown Gagnon. I am NSA's Senior Language Authority. And well, for one more week on the Senior Language Authority. Next week, I'm actually permanent change of station, going to North Carolina, and I'm going to be the director of our Lab for Analytic Sciences down there at NC State. So I'm kind of like straddling between language and analysis right now, but really excited to be here. And this is my first opportunity to do anything like this. So I think looking forward to hearing what the students have to say, not so much the judging part, but we'll make it work. Thanks.
I understand, Amy. Thanks so much for doing that. And being honest, I think you do have a very difficult challenge in front of you. Well, students, now it's time for us to be able to work through and get everything together. We are going to promote people to panelists. And as BizWiz, as you're coming on, please keep your videos off. We'll be promoting you to panelists. And then we will start your presentation here in just a second. Don't forget to turn your audio on. I know we're having some challenges getting the naming together, but Don is working feverishly and he's almost got everything together so that we will have everybody together and making sure that we have everything going on. So we are ready to go. All right, so panel, judges, if you wouldn't mind turning your video off. And Don, if you will go to their presentation. And BizWiz, as soon as you see your title slide, you'll be able to take it away. So hang on. We're getting there. Always a little bit of challenge to get this together. Okay, BizWiz, you're more than welcome to.
Howdy, everyone. We are BizWiz consultants, and we are excited to be here with y'all today. Next slide.
Hello, we can't hear you.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry, I can. Yes,
Okay.
I can.
Oh, I introduced, howdy, everyone. We are BizWiz consultants, and we are excited to be here with y'all today. Next slide, please. My name is Alohi, and this is my awesome team. I'm trying to see the big picture, but I guess I can't. This is Emiliano.
Don't start their video yet.
Beryl, Amir, Bobby, and Taha. Next slide, please.
Was possible. Lots of people warned of the possibility. So why the shortage?
COVID-19 is now the third leading cause of death in the U.S., second only to heart disease and cancer.
Nearly 1.5 million Americans filed for unemployment last week.
The COVID-19 pandemic is a serious challenge due to the lack of information and the difficulty in presenting what data is available. As NSA business consultants, you are tasked with synthesizing relevant data. You need efficient tools for national security concerns. Here comes the good news. BizWiz Workspace, a seamless one-stop solution that seeks to aid business consultants in real time. We want our consultants to have all their favorite tools and features within their reach. Whether it's managing tasks or keeping track of their projects, we want our consultants to be on top of their game. To take this even further, consultants can focus more on business decisions, and we found a way to do that with our report generator. This will allow consultants to query information based on their needs and generate recommendations that will help them make data-driven and informed decisions. BizWiz Workspace, the ultimate solution to your business consultant needs. So as you saw from the video, you saw how BizWiz can benefit your business needs. As you also saw, business consultants struggle to convert data into something user-friendly for their clients, which makes business decisions difficult. Next slide, please. The main three contributions to this problem is large volume of data, cluttered applications, and time-consuming reports. Next slide, please.
Now that we've introduced the problem at hand, let's talk about what we need to solve this issue. NSA needs an innovative workspace that would enable business consultants to make informed and data-driven decisions with a seamless one-step solution. Next slide, please. Additionally, from conducting research and several interviews, we decided that in order to transform the lives of business consultants, we need to focus on 3 things. The first focus is data integration. Business consultants use various programs and sources daily. Having a workspace with everything would promote efficiency. The second focus is data fluency. The goal of a business consultant is to represent data in a way that anyone can understand so that they can make better informed decisions. And lastly, it's data interpretation. Consultants must use all of their available data in order to make good decisions. This would also help account for any uncertainties in the market and to buy down risks ahead of a crisis. To accomplish this, there are a few requirements that need to be met. Now we'll go over those requirements in detail. Next slide, please.
There were several factors that we deemed as necessary givens. In short, what we provide our consultants. Decision-making guidance. This is a focal point in our research and report techniques to assist the user. An intuitive user interface. No one likes to ravel in a knot when trying to find something simple. Our program makes it seamless. Live recommendations, such as format and data representation recommendations to the user. Generates relative data in research automatically. Through our info generate function, you can personalize your document, insert text, and through various keywords, our processor will generate information relevant to your text as recommendations, giving you live data support and the relevant data report instantly. Lastly, to integrate communication channels, gifting the user with a call and instant message function, a workspace, and the option to collaborate on documents internationally. Next slide, please.
So we were really excited about all the design solutions we came up with, and the 3 design solutions we really came up with was the client consultant data channel, the client consultant communication channel, and the report filing assistance software. And what all of them try to do is bridge the gap between the client and the consultant. And the report filing assistance software helps with making better decisions helps consultants make better decisions by giving live recommendations. Next slide, please. So we are really trying to give a really good user experience for the consultant by giving a customizable workspace. You have access to all your favorite tools, all your favorite features, and we want to make sure that everything is within reach. And one of our most innovative features is the report generator. Next slide, please. And what the report generator is trying to achieve is basically trying to give the consultant better data and better organization for the data based on their needs. Depending on the kind of project they're working on, whether it's a product launch or if it's an M&A project, we want them to get key insights and recommendations directly through machine learning algorithms and through data analysis. And this will really help the consultant focus more on the business strategies and make better decisions. Next slide, please.
Now, the powerful word processing tool within this program is what really sets BizWiz Workspace apart. In addition to writing up a data report and giving you an outline that's personalized based on what data you want to represent, it uses machine learning to actively show you different recommendations in regard to both your format and data. As you can see in this image, on the left-hand side, there's format recommendations related to the type of report that you're writing. In this case, it's an economics report, and it'll show you relevant data and give you suggestions on how to best present that so that you have that data fluency. Additionally, there's data recommendations where it pulls different data from online and from sources that you trust and have listed and uploaded, and it gives you best ways to represent that, and it uses keywords as you're writing the actual report to give you live advice. Next slide, please.
And as a business consultant, along with other data scientists and analysts, are proactively advising and assisting various organizational leaderships. However, informed decisions have to be made based on data or information, which requires a significant amount of expertise and effort. Business consultants in their daily work are struggling with providing more informed recommendations. One of the most powerful aspects of our BizWiz workspace is that it provides the ultimate solution to streamline the process of data management for more effective decision making. In some cases, the recommendations are not like that complicated, but you have to know that how to interpret the data. The only way you are going to know that as a business consultant is if you have an open line of communication with your customers. For our next steps, the BizWiz consultant team will pursue the development of this digital workspace on our own and cooperate with our sponsors to further develop the idea into a tangible product in the future. Thank you for the opportunity to work on this important problem. We hope that our solution will help our sponsor in some way. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for your time. We are open for
Thank you
any
very much.
questions.
All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to have an opportunity to turn on your video so that we can all see you, and all of the judges, if you can turn on your videos as well. And that way you can ask any questions that you might have. Looking forward to hearing your questions for BizWiz consultants. And just as a reminder, you have 5 minutes.
Oh. So who do you think your primary customers are for your tool? I thought you did a great job. And who would you primarily pitch this to? Because I'm an intelligence analyst. I'm wondering, how would you pitch it to us? Who do you think would use it?
So we are basically pitching this to all the business consultants so that like we can integrate this, we can customize this based on the consultant and what their needs are.
Additionally, if I may add, it's usable across different roles within the NSA because it's such a powerful tool and uses machine learning. So once you give some basic guidelines in the terms of format and data you want to present, it continues to grow and adapt so that it can fill different roles within the NSA as well.
And in the future steps of our product development, we would like to promote this to a variety of organizations.
This is Dave Harris. I appreciate the presentation. It was very good work. With respect to the report generator and sort of the machine learning aspect of that, you mentioned it was a recommendation system to some degree, and it requires some data interpretation, and that data interpretation, of course, is necessary for the customer and their client to understand how to best think about that data. Is there any, did you have any thinking about how the human, the analyst, and the machinery might work together relative to that recommendation system?
So for report generation, what we're really trying to first aim for is using previous reports. So for example, using what the machine is going to do is it's going to learn how previously these reports were written, how it will use data from previous reports, and those machine learning models are then going to generate and recommend the kind of data you're looking for based on the project.
Additionally, it would recognize, for example, if there's a certain type of business that you're working with a lot, it'll recognize that you're working with this business and typically they like to have this sort of graphical or this sort of table of representation of data. So it can learn from that, and in future recommendations, it can say, this consultant typically uses this type of data that this company wants. So that way it can better connect the consultant to give the type of data that's usable for that specific consumer.
Very good, thanks.
I have a quick question. So wonderful presentation, by the way. So there was one thing that was said that implied that as a user of this system or an organizational user of the system, that you could actually integrate your own some of your own tools or analytics or whatever that might be. Did I hear that right? Is that sort of, you have a framework where you could plug and play unique things built specifically for this, and then adapt other applications inside it as well.
Yes, so that's one of our main goals, to really provide customization. So it's not just giving you, okay, these are the tools. It's like you can add your tools and really like tailor it to your needs.
So right now that looks like the custom report generations. You can give what kind of reports and a bare, backbones of report, and it'll help you in the future, but it can expand to different types of softwares and different types of end products that you're creating within this program. As long as you have that same machine learning and the data it's already gathered from writing reports, it can be applicable in any creation of end product or data communication.
Okay, so do you see the machine learning, the role of machine learning in this system overall, primarily on the report generation part, or on the front end of that and the data analysis and representation? Did that make sense?
Yes, so the machine learning is going to be both for data and for the business strategies, because we really want the consultant to focus on like making the decisions. A lot of time is spent finding information through Google, and we kind of got that feedback from our consultants. So we really want them to you have the data available with you.
All right, and as I said, panelists and also judges, that's 5 minutes. So thank you so much for your questions, outstanding questions and outstanding presentation, BrizWiz. All right.
Thank you so much.
We will get going.
Thank you.
And give the judges just a few minutes to spend some time putting together their present judging, scoring, and things like that. And we'll get ready for the next one. The next team is going to be Java CD. And the role that they are going to be putting together is intelligence analyst. And so if the judges would like to turn off their video, they're more than welcome to, and that way they can concentrate their efforts on making sure that they've got all the scores entered. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. We know that many of you are still having difficulty changing the names in the webinar, and we are working through that as fast as we possibly can. And we are getting ready. So hopefully Java CD is just about ready to go. We'll give the judges just a few more minutes. I do want to let you know that we run engineering entrepreneurship. And engineering entrepreneurship is all about helping you turn your ideas into commercial projects and giving you an entrepreneurial mindset. Entrepreneurial mindset is very important, not only if you're going to create a startup, but also if you're going to be in any kind of a company. We want you to start thinking like an entrepreneur. If any of the teams would like to continue on with their project and continue on, we have an engineering incubator. And the incubator is set up specifically to help you turn your idea and explore commercialization. I'll also, in some of the other breaks, talk about some of the other programs that we're able to offer, because these ideas that you're coming up with are truly something that you should consider pushing forward and seeing if there is a commercial application for it. So we'll talk in some of the other breaks about some of the other programs that we offer and some of the ways that you can continue to explore commercialization. I'm hoping that by now I have ready to get Java CD up and running. So we'll put your slide up. And as soon as you are able to see your slide as you're doing it, then y'all can introduce yourself and we will get going. Thank you so much. And Java CD, take it away.
Howdy, my name is Daniel Duhan, and I'm a junior aerospace engineering major.
Alexis Rappa, freshman general engineering.
Carson Adams, freshman general engineering.
Jeremy Teets, freshman general engineering.
Anjali Panus, freshman general engineering.
Vivian Yu, sophomore computer science.
And we are Java CD. Next slide, please.
Imagine waking up in the morning, excited to get to work, ready to take on the world. Then you get your laptop and open your email, calendar, workspace, to-do list, alarms, and the countless applications that you only require for a typical day. I don't know about you, but by now I am stressed and I don't even want to get started. Now imagine even more applications with thousands of terabytes of text, and you need to find an issue contained in only a single line. This is a common problem that data analysts face every single day. Computer network defense analysts are the front line to cybersecurity. However, they are dealing with a disorganized workspace with data dispersed throughout multiple applications, leaving sensitive information at risk. Our personal information at risk. Currently accessing data takes a lot of effort that should be allocated to processing that data. We solve this with NSA Atlas. NSA Atlas is an innovative application that not only centralizes all of this data, but also provides practical tools of convenience for our analysts, allowing them to monitor network data, make quick and informed decisions, and connect or share data across a team in a much more organized manner.
Okay. As stated in our video, the problem is that computer network defense analysts are dealing with a disorganized and not centralized workspace, leaving sensitive data at risk. This is important because computer network defense analysts are at the front lines of cybersecurity to protect everyone and their data. Our goal is to create comprehensive software to provide all the tools necessary to protect this sensitive data, combined with ease of use and simplicity for analysts to more effectively perform their jobs. Next slide, please.
I'm sure by now you are probably ready to hand us our trophy, but first let me explain a few key features of Atlas. Number one, a centralized data server. Often the hardest problems have the simplest solutions, and this is no exception. With data all over creating an ineffective workforce, the solution concept was easy to think of. We'll put all the data in one spot, making it easier for analysis to pull the data and resources they need. Number two, now this is my favorite, customizable user interface. This allows each individual person to have their own workspace. We all know how distracting and annoying it is to work in a place where you just cannot think. The last thing we want is analysis protecting our information to be distracted and failing to see these threats. This ensures that each person can embrace their differences and create a place that they want to work in. Number three, job role-based access. Now, what does this mean? In this field, each person has a certain thing they do with certain data and tools they need, but the opposite is also true. There's a lot of features in data they will never look at. This will automatically clean up or organize their tools and the data they need and give security clearance to each person depending on their job role.
The fourth feature of our product is the secure data access. We understand that transferring data from just one centralized server into just one application can pose some security risk, which is why we move towards the idea of having a two-part defense system during transfer. Once data is granted access to the user, it is secured with a unique encryption key on the server side, then transferred over to the client side. At the client side, it is then decrypted with the same key and ready for processing. This allows the analysts to deal with the content of the data rather than worry that it is insecure. Finally, the fifth feature of our product is its ability to interpret raw data. Raw data to us common folk is in essence English nonsense. Sifting through that indecipherable language takes way too much time. This feature acts as a processing tool to interpret raw data into readable lines of information so that our analysts can spend much more time analyzing the data. Next slide, please.
Here within the Atlas platform, high-level productivity and simplicity is part of our main focus to keep sensitive data safe. Once an employee establishes an account, they will have instant access to all tools and data needed to effectively complete tasks on a day-to-day basis. Taking a look at the left side taskbar, Atlas provides drop-downs containing many work, communication, and documentation tools needed, compiling all collaboration efforts into one application. Moving over to the right side taskbar, the user is provided with analytical tools which are highly customizable. In this case, tools aimed towards a computer network defense analyst, such as incident report managers, network and firewall tools, and host system tools, making every analyst experience substantially more convenient. With collaboration between both taskbars, the user is able to make their main workspace fit their personal work needs, creating informative visuals and displays the data for user satisfaction. Next slide, please.
Let's say an analysis did receive a threat notice. It may look a lot like this. When you open up a possible threat, Atlas will process a lot of the raw data and try to narrow down where the threat is coming from in the code or logs. And by using a Python script to analyze raw data, it creates a user-friendly display to monitor threats with a threat type and level. When a threat is posed and the user clicks on it, the raw data gathered by the Python script will be audited in a time frame for easy analysis for the user. In short, making sure our coding warriors are best equipped to protect us. Next slide, please.
With this slide, we could dive into a closer look showing a robust topology and how everything is connected to make our application work flawlessly to supply instantaneously updated data to all users. Starting from the bottom, the server establishes connections to each data source, pulling data into the server. The Atlas client is in constant communication with the server, which updates each specialized tool used by the user, allows for instant voice, text, and video communication with peers for collaboration, and immediate file sharing, which is all grouped in a user-friendly environment. Next slide.
We all know the workplace environment is crucial to the mental health. Currently, irregularities must be identified by hand despite up to 73% of the company data going unused. These tedious tasks will be dealt by the NSA Atlas. And in addition, communication will become streamlined under one uniform platform. Studies show increased employee interaction can boost performance by 20% and increase employee retention by 450%. It's clear that this is a pain point that cannot go unaddressed. Next slide, please.
From our design alternatives, our first idea was a tablet-based access device. It would use a Bluetooth-based digital certificate to identify the user and provide access to multiple servers at once. And because of the portability, it would also create a more collaborative environment. We did not pick this device because of security concerns if the device was taken from the building. Our second design was 2 to 3 centralized servers that the data would feed into. This solution would be slightly more secure due to the spread of data. It also ensures fallback from failure if one of the servers fail. The downside is it's harder to access large amounts of data due to the dispersed information. Next slide, please. Currently, there are no other software-based solutions, and our solution is the only one which integrates multiple software platforms and all the tools needed to one central app. This is the best solution to this problem because our product will ensure national security analysts can work quicker, more efficiently, and most importantly, collaboratively. Next slide.
In conclusion, NSA Atlas is an application that comprehensively brings together powerful tools for analysts to use to keep sensitive data safe. It also makes it very easy for them to do their jobs more effectively and efficiently. The more efficiently analysts can work, the more time they can spend on keeping us safe, and the less time we must worry about being victims of cyber attacks. The NSA Atlas app brings together all the tools necessary for collaboration and analyzing data, and will play a key role in national security to make the world a safer place. Next slide. We'd now like to open the panel to questions, and thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now we're going to ask all the judges and your team to turn your video on so that we'll be able to see you and ask you questions.
Who's first?
You have 5 minutes.
I'll go first. Hey, that was a great presentation. I appreciate the trade-off, the design trade-off you're making with sort of between the tablet and the centralized server view. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Tablet, not secure, probably not a great idea. On the other hand, in the tablet, that was one place where you were really bringing in the notion of collaboration, one of your two key functions. Not only the centralization of the data, but practical tools to enable collaboration. Under the centralized server model, where would that collaboration come into play? How would you reintroduce that?
I can take this one. One key way we're going to try to bring back and incorporate that collaboration is through our, I want to say, second part of Atlas. So a key part of it is having that centralized server where all the data will be placed. The other part is going to be very similar to Microsoft Teams, to where you have access to Zoom calls, you have access to chatting, you have access to sharing documents and video calls, and just trying to bring it back to make it as effective as possible, to where they have as many options that works for them to use and collaborate with their team members.
And I would like to add to that, if I can. Another situation that we also have to take into account is that even in situations like now where we're staying at home for our own personal safety, technology is going to be advancing as much as possible so that we don't have to leave the convenience of our home. So having this online method of collaborating with each other and connecting with each other and actually having teamwork together would make a much more useful scenario for us.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. And then John.
Of course.
So I'll follow up a little bit on that. So, so would you see this as having a separate or an independently developed collaboration mechanism, or would you see it being able to incorporate, like just use Teams or use some of the existing collaboration solutions that are out there as part of the suite?
I can take this one again and expand on it. What we were going to do with this is we were kind of putting the two together almost, in a sense. And the reason we want to do that and why we see that as so important is because that if we just kept them separate, that's continuing to feed the very problem that they are facing right now of having so many applications open, to where like jumping between, oh, I have to go out of a Microsoft Team meeting here, a Zoom meeting here, I have this over here, I have this Word document to send. Whereas with this, these ideas have already been brought. What a key part we're doing is we're just making it better and more effective for them and having it in one spot, and then also bringing in that access of having all their data storage in one server.
Carson, were you going to add anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
Hey, could you say a little bit more about interpreting raw data, unless somebody else has another question? I know you touched on that a little bit about normalizing and indexing data and somehow having that help with the automation tasks that are associated with this. Just very quickly, because I know somebody else had a question as well. Oh, by the way, great video.
I can answer this. So a part of the features of the design was a customized Python script. This can be any script besides Python. But the feature was anyone can edit it and you can tailor it to all the different data sources. So it would interpret them all differently.
Okay, thanks.
Along with that, I would just like to add, so right now the data that we have, raw data, it's similar to a low-level programming language to where it's more system-based. And so when we're reading it, it's much harder to understand as a human. And so what the interpreter would do is the same thing that a processor in a computer would do, is transfer that low-level language into a higher level language that is more understandable by us humans.
Yeah, very good, thanks.
All right, well, it looks like you have exhausted all the questions from the judges. Congratulations. Let's now move on. Thank you very much, team. And if you want to just say thanks to the judges, you're more than welcome to, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We are going to then move into the next presentation. And this is going to be Tara. And again, I'm going to give the judges just a few minutes to spend time finishing their scores. Tara is looking at geospatial analyst positions. And so how can you help a geospatial analyst be able to make their job easier? And so how can you use geographic data, spatial data, and how are you going to put this together? All right, I mentioned the other programs that Engineering Entrepreneurship is providing. We work with the National Science Foundation through an NSF grant that gives you an opportunity to explore customer discovery. And we have funding to be able to do it. It's called the EyeSight program. And you will be involved as a team in a 6-week program that the team can have up to $3,000 in exploring customer discovery, and we will lead you through that process. So it's a matter of making sure that you have all of the information together and that you're building the exact right product. So it's some of the things that we are going to be doing. I'll also, in some of the upcoming breaks, talk about some of the courses that we are offering. But I believe that we are ready for Tara, and I hope I've stalled long enough to give the judges an opportunity to submit their scores. And Tara, when you see your presentation come up, then unmute yourself and you will get an opportunity to get started. So Tara, take it away. Tara, are you there? Tara, unmute yourself if you.
I'm seeing notes in the chat that says they are not panelists and cannot unmute.
Tara is not a panelist yet? All right, hold on 1 second.
One person has said the possible answer might be Intelligence Inc. was promoted to panelist.
Howdy, everyone. I think Tara is good to go now.
No, not everybody. We're going to take care of that right now. All right, now, Tara.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can. All right. Sorry for the glitch, but take it away now.
Nathan hasn't been promoted yet, and Sophia, yes, sir. And then Sophia, are you there?
I think we're missing one team member.
Yeah, Nathan.
Nathan didn't tell us he was part of your team.
Okay, he's in now.
So he's in now.
Okay, Sophia,
right.
Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon. This is Spatial Artificial Intelligence Terra. We chose Work Group 7, Geospatial Data Analyst. I'm Sofia Gallardo. I'm a civil engineering major, and I'm class of 2021.
I'm Campbell Hardigan. I'm a junior aerospace engineering major from the class of 2022.
Hi, I'm Connor McLaren. I'm a sophomore interdisciplinary engineering major, class of 2023.
Hi, I'm Joseph McMahon. I'm also an interdisciplinary engineering master's student, class of 2022.
Howdy, I'm Henry Myers. I'm a general engineering major, class of 2024.
Hi, I'm Nathan Prosamarto. I'm a computer science major of the class of 2023. Next slide, please.
For the jelly and out to the garage. Imagine you're at home and want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but instead of heading to the kitchen, you climb up to the attic to get the peanut butter, down to the basement for the jelly, and out to the garage for the bread. This is the everyday life of a geospatial analyst, gathering and making sense of information from many different databases all over the place and putting it all together. That's where Spatial Artificial Intelligence Terra comes in. Spatial Artificial Intelligence Terra, or SciTerra, is Imagine you're at home and want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but instead of heading to the kitchen, you climb up to the attic to get the peanut butter, down to the basement for the jelly, and out to the garage for the bread. This is the everyday life of a geospatial analyst, gathering and making sense of information from many different databases all over the place and putting it all together. That's where Spatial Artificial Intelligence Terra comes in. Spatial Artificial Intelligence Terra, or SciTerra, is activity-based intelligence software that streamlines the data collection process for analysts. Cyterra uses machine learning techniques to integrate data from multiple sources and help analysts find exactly what they need to build their reports. Whether the data is geographical maps, signals intelligence, or city layouts, this innovative software helps analysts get their job done faster. Cyterra is the geospatial workspace of the future, with visualization in 2D and 3D. The 3D representations combined with emerging mixed reality technology allows analysts to step into their work, having points of interest highlighted by the artificial intelligence. It also can be sent to users on the ground to be used as terrain models and walkthroughs for potential follow-on actions. In cases where 3D visualization is not feasible or desired, traditional 2D representations can be used, allowing users to work with a simple, familiar interface. Building the digital workspace of the future, Cyterra.
Next slide, please. Looking at the concerns of the National Security Agency, we identified one of the main problems of the geospatial analysis. The problem that we chose was that geospatial analysts use unorganized data sets, which delays essential reports and findings. We're trying to help ground assets, for example, soldiers and first responders, who need to get data quickly to act. Lives of people are involved, and making the process faster is important to save their lives on time. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Sophia. Let's talk about some of the basic requirements for Cyterra. First and foremost, we wanted a quick search time. So we wanted to get data to the analyst and get it to their fingertips so they could have instant access. They're asking for data and it takes a few days, few hours. That's not helpful. Next, we have working with multiple forms of data. We got this requirement from interviewing and talking with the geospatial analyst, who told us that he had a lot of trouble and spent a lot of time finding and loading data into a map. So we want to work with whatever data is available, whether that's geospatial map data or signal intelligence data, and able so that our software can read that data. Next, we need to be able to fulfill the queries. So whatever the analyst wants, whatever the analyst is speaking to the software, whatever the analyst is typing, we want the software to be able to understand it. So one of the ways we'll do that is incorporating natural language processing. Next, as we talked with our interviews with our geospatial analyst, they're doing these tasks over and over again every day, and they take a lot of time. So we're wanting to get rid of this repetitive task and introduce automation into the workplace by incorporating more artificial intelligence. And last but not least, we want this to be easy to use. So it's not practical if this is not does not have a user-friendly interface. So we want this to be able to be implemented easily and have a smooth transition into the workplace. Next slide.
So we started off with an original design that really focused on augmented and mixed reality, really allowing the analyst to step into their data space, pick things up, move them around, and see what's physically around them. When we examined that, though, we realized that this really didn't solve the problem of bringing in different data types and the fact that analysts have to spend hours upon hours bringing data in to build their models. It also didn't address the fact that ground teams usually don't have access to these augmented reality tools. So we shifted to a different design. Next slide, please.
In this design, we had our geospatial analyst receive information from their database and then send it directly to an artificial intelligence robot. This AI would then categorize the data based on a priority search. So if the data that is sent in is a flood, one of the first data that will be selected to be analyzed will be low floodplain data. This will then be sent to our visualization software, which will be able to project it in 2D and 3D software, depending on the geospatial analyst. Next slide, please.
The first step is to categorize the available data. Geospatial analysts have a plethora of data, but the main challenge is finding the relevant information and organizing it quickly. In this profession, every second matters. Through the use of current and near future technology, Cyterra seeks to assemble this data and categorize it as fast and as efficiently as possible. Next slide, please.
The second step in our prototype is the interpretation of analyst queries. This is done using natural language processing, which breaks up the query into important parts matching specific tags created in the previous step. In this example, the query Louisiana flood zones during Hurricane Katrina is broken down into two parts using the Google Cloud API. Louisiana flood zones, which is a location, is the first part of this query, and it can be tied to more geographically sorted data. And the second part of this query, Hurricane Katrina, is an event that can be tied to more timestamp stored data. Next slide, please. The third step in our prototype is the efficient search and retrieval of data in this stored database. This proof of concept can be demonstrated using ArcGIS notebooks, which has a similar database of web maps. In this code snippet, a relevant map is returned for the query, Hurricane Katrina, Louisiana. Next slide, please.
The next step is to portray this information in a way that's useful to the analyst. On the left, you see the unprocessed version, a map with many data points that can represent anything. For example, in the hurricane analogy, it could represent flood depth. In a signals intelligence analogy, it could represent an individual database file that has GPS data from every cell phone in that area. We take this, we run it through our artificial intelligence, and we move over to the right side where we have a heat map. So in this, on the right side, you can see in the hurricane analogy, you can see maybe where the deepest water is, where the worst flooding was. Or in the signals intelligence version, you can see certain routes that certain individuals are taking and draw direct conclusions from that without having to spend time creating the map on the right. Next slide, please.
So as you can see, this is a 3D model of our interpretation of our visualization software. You can see that the data will display where the structural damage was done in real time based on satellite information. So the analyst will be able to give hands-on and accurate information to the first responders in case of an emergency, so they can find out where the individuals might be buried or trapped. Next slide, please.
All right, in recap, one of the biggest problems geospatial analysts have is that they have to sift through tons of unorganized data, and they need to get up the reports faster. So SciTerra does that by taking the data and giving it quickly the relevant data that those geospatial analysts need. And another way it does that is by taking 2D and 3D visualization graphics to help the analysts make their reports. So why are these reports so important anyways? Well, these reports that the analysts make go directly to decision makers, whether those are policymakers, troops in the field, or first responders. And that's why SciTerra makes a difference. Next slide. Questions?
Tara, thank you so much. And judges and panelists, if y'all will turn on your video so that they can have 5 minutes to ask your questions.
Dave, are you going to go?
I'd love to go first. Hey, I really appreciated that presentation. It was really good. I especially like the interpretation of the analyst query NLP portion into the search query tool. It split the geos location from the event itself. That's really good. And so, is there also sort of a use of AI on the backside of that? I mean,
yes, sir.
I mean, you showed sort of that plot, the 2D plot, and then a reinterpretation of that. Could you say a little bit more about how that AI is going to work in both sides?
Yes, sir. So we actually have a slide, if they could pull up the slides, it's at the very bottom, where we would use a tree-based search. And it's at the very bottom of the slides. Rodney, if you could scroll all the way to the bottom. It's a tree-based search. And what we would do is we would categorize, we would first identify our first issue. So let's say it's a fire. And then we would say what would be the nearest forest in the area, what would be the nearest problems, where would be droughts, like places with burn bans in effect and stuff like that. And the AI would collect this information and it would categorize it to the top of the list. So we'd use a tree-based search for that.
Good. And so the purpose of that would be, because you have so many different types of data, you want to be able to streamline the presentation back to the user. Okay, very good. Great work.
That's the slide right there.
Is this the slide y'all wanted?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
So yeah, so I have a quick question. I really like the search technique. Analyst searches can be very tedious and it can be hard to keep track of them. I was interested in use of AI. So will you use AI to actually put the report out? How does the report come on after the analysis is done?
So
Would you envision that?
currently, we didn't think about using the AI to help the analyst send out the report. We didn't ask that question, unfortunately. So we figured that the analyst could just simply make a phone call to the first responders and tell them exactly what was going on in the situation.
Our priority was helping the analysts do their job and having the resources available to do that as quick as possible.
Okay, thanks.
I have a quick question. I really liked the way you described how you did your like your requirements generation process by conversations with geo-analysts and really trying to get at what they needed and where their pain points were. But I'm curious, it seemed to me like you only kind of looked at one potential solution other than the one that you ultimately landed on. Did I misunderstand? Can you talk a little more about sort of the analysis that you did of alternative ways of handling the challenges that were put in front of you?
So I guess I'll answer this one. We did come up with another couple designs. We just didn't think there was enough time to go through all the designs all at once. Another design we came up with was to look more at using just the AI completely and to have the AI analyze the data, but then instead of sending it back to the analyst where the analyst could send the information, the AI would build the map and then send that off to the first responders. We just didn't think it was practical and we thought that we were losing a key element. That's just one other design we came up with.
I was just gonna, so I think you guys did a great job, and obviously this is an important thing to do, right? Situational awareness from physical aspect is important in a lot of areas. And so I think that, so how do you see, do you have any notion like of scale? So if you have 50 analysts versus 300 of them, and multiple locations where they would want to push this out, do you think that this, your idea will scale out like that?
So one aspect in our design concept that allows for the scaling of this is the first step where data is loaded into the database that the AI searches. So for example, if for another organization, such as let's say like the NGIA, wishes to use this for a specific concept, let's say only tracking climate data, then they can only load the climate data into spatial AI and then just run on that data instead of looking through everything else that could be loaded in.
Thank you very much.
All right, judges, that's the amount of time that we have allocated for this. I appreciate it. Tara, thank you very much for your presentation. Again, outstanding. Sorry for the couple of issues that we had initially, but we restarted your time and made sure that you had plenty of time to handle it. So I apologize for that. And that was all on us. It was not on the team. The team did an outstanding job. All right.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for your
We will
time.
be moving on. We'll be moving on to the next team here in a few minutes. And Tara, if y'all will
Thank
turn
you.
off your video.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm missing one guy in the next team.
All right, here we go. Now we'll be promoting the next team. And as we're getting that ready, and the next team is going to be Data Cowboys. They are undertaking the security analyst role. And so I think you're going to find very interesting as to how they've been able to take a look at this problem and solve the problem. A little bit more about engineering entrepreneurship. Of course, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to provide some advertising. We provide coursework. We have 5 different courses that explore different kinds of business aspects of a business that you wind up needing as an engineer. And we do this from an engineering point of view. We use professors of practice who've actually been there. So I spent 35 years in industry and spent some time covering and running different companies, and several of the other instructors, particularly Jim Donnell, also has spent a great deal of time running companies. So we're doing this from a perspective of knowing exactly how companies run. So we encourage you to take a look at the courses that we provide, because it'll give you a little bit further in-depth look at becoming an entrepreneur or having an entrepreneurial mindset as you are developing and going into your company. We're going to be going ready, and I'm going to make sure that I have the thumbs up to get ready to go with Data Cowboys. And as soon as I get that thumbs up, then I will turn this over again to Data Cowboys. What we'll do is we will again put up your screen, and as soon as your slide goes up, then we will turn it over to you, and you'll be able to lead us through your presentation. Again, we're looking very forward to seeing your presentation, and I believe that we are ready to go. So as soon as we see your slide, then you can turn on your audio, leave your videos off, or however you decide you're going to present it, and then we'll move on from there. Data Cowboys, are y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
It looks like the thing on screen is the end of our video, not the starting slide.
First slide. Okay, we'll get to the first slide.
Thank you.
There we go.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Howdy, my name is Rosemary Pedregon. I'm a senior electrical engineering major.
I'm Jack Rohr, a junior computer science and economics major.
I'm Gregory Petrie, a junior computer science major.
I'm Aniket Bharadwaj. I'm a freshman engineering major.
I'm Mark Choquer, and I'm a sophomore mechanical engineering major.
I'm Kurt Ramesh, and I'm a freshman computer science major.
We are Data Cowboys, a revolutionary data services company aimed to preserve the national security of our great nation while protecting the wallet of the taxpayer. Next slide.
Intelligence at their disposal. So does the Department of State, the FBI, the CIA, and 13 other intelligence communities across the United States. However, a lack of technological cooperation between and within these organizations makes collaborating and sharing this information a slow and difficult process. What if you could have the wide-ranging ease and access of an internet search engine with the collaborative abilities of Microsoft Teams or Slack? Secure Collab is a one-stop portal where analysts can research relevant information across all agency databases. It is a space where people and groups can collaborate with other agencies for more efficient information sharing and communication. Our interface allows for users to not only track their own assignments, but also create job modules where analysts across agencies can collaborate on tasks or research. This is especially exciting as users can find others working in the same topic or tag and collaborate rather than unknowingly duplicating efforts across departments or agencies. Most analysts have multiple screens in front of them with various softwares and websites open. But Secure Collab allows analysts to organize everything into one workspace. Adding Secure Collab to the agency workspace will serve as an important move in our national security by getting answers faster, eliminating wasted time, and becoming more effective overall. After all, we're all working towards the same overarching goal, to keep this country safe and protected from any threat, both at home and around the world.
All right. The problem that we are solving is that there is an informational disconnect that hinders collaboration between intelligence agencies and between analysts. Next slide, please. So why is this a problem? Analysts end up spending more time than would be necessary because they have to sift through so many different databases to find the information that they need. These analysts could also cut down on time if they were able to collaborate with people who are working on the same project and researching the same or similar information. This means that results and answers are delayed, and in the intelligence community, these delays could have serious implications. The various interfaces also could have the effect that information gets overlooked because there are so many places to search, and not all of them are accessible by every analyst from different agencies. Beyond the actual information gathering, the potential of duplicate work is yet another problem with this system, because the same work can be done simultaneously by different groups in different agencies without them knowing it. All of these aspects together result in extra time, extra effort, and extra money spent on these projects, which means a reduction in the available budget. Next slide, please.
And that's why we developed Secure Collab, which is a combined digital workspace and database designed for task management, collaboration, and research. Besides this, there were two alternative solutions that we thought of, but I'll walk you through why we didn't choose those. The first was a search engine where you can search across different agencies, and the second was a collaborative workspace where you can simply meet with other analysts and see what they're working on. Secure Collab is a combination of both of these because we believe that that is the best solution so that analysts can find what they need. Next slide, please. So there's 5 ways that this works. The first is that there's a task management system for the user to keep their projects and assignments organized. Second, there's a built-in search engine capable of indexing and tagging files. Third, we have an alert system that notifies the user when a file with a tag is added and when another analyst accesses a file related to one of the user's modules. Fourth, we have a collaboration center for discussion between groups in one or multiple agencies. Users can share project files and notebooks within groups or to specific people. And finally, we have a wiki and notebook where information can be recorded and shared as a job module. Next slide, please.
So here you can see a demonstration of our tasks functionality. The user is going in to add a new task, and then can go add another task after that. Maybe he wants to research power in Zimbabwe and check if other people are doing the same thing. So once those tasks are added, he finishes something up and can go back and check it off, and it is indicated as finished. Next slide, please. Next, this is an example of the functionality of our jobs module. The user can go in and create a new module, say Zimbabwe Power, to keep his searches organized, can go search for Zimbabwe and it will return a result, and can then click on the result and see that it returned information from the CIA World Factbook on Zimbabwe. He can then close the search, reopen the module, and the search will reappear to keep his information up so he can continue working. Next slide, please.
This is the Groups tab. Here you can view and create groups within your agency, other agencies, or individuals that can help with your projects. In the Groups tab, you can see other members' job modules. This prevents duplicate work. Shared job modules also are highlighted red for convenience. Next slide, please. Here's the Alerts tab. Here you can view others' interactions on your job modules. You can see when others search a common tag or query. You can also subscribe to whole agencies or even individual analysts that you're interested in receiving updates from. Next slide, please.
So, what makes our solution different? Secure Collab offers a fully customizable interface that allows analysts to easily organize their workspace to best fit their needs. Our single pane of glass design fully integrates many features that previously would have had to be done in separate windows. The interface allows for easy and secure interpersonal, interdepartmental, and cross-agency collaboration. Our search engine can be closely tailored to individual agencies and users. Additionally, Secure Collab supports alert subscriptions to your job module topics and queries. This ensures that the user is always up to date on what is happening in the relevant workspace, and it helps filter out extraneous clutter. Next slide, please. So what are some future implements of Secure Collab? In other words, what can be done to the current prototype in order to bring it up to the level of our vision for the platform? Well, there's obviously a need to support individual user accounts as well as a secure login. The team has also discussed including a journal platform where analysts can easily collaborate directly on documents themselves. Additionally, we are considering replacing the Tasks tab with a more organized to-do, doing, and done board. We would like to offer filtered searches by data type. That is, if you need to filter your search for only documents, images, videos, audio files, etc., you can easily do so. We would like to offer tag following, where the user can follow an author and be notified when that author publishes a new document, or follow a document and receive a notification when the document is updated. A useful addition to the platform would be a directory search, where a user can easily find specialists in certain fields if they need their assistance for a task. For example, if an analyst needs help understanding a document in a foreign language, they can easily find and contact a linguist who can translate it for them. We would love to integrate mobile access. This would enable field agents to access the site and enter data from anywhere in the world using their mobile device. However, this feature will not allow full access for the sake of security. Finally, our finished product will need to meet the given security standards. Next slide, please.
Here are the resources that we used. Next slide, please. And please feel free to try out our platform at datacowboy.ml. Please keep in mind, this is a beta version. Therefore, some features are still a work in progress. Thank you for your time today, and we are now open for questions.
All right, if everybody will turn on their video and judges get a chance to ask some questions. Thank you very much, Data Cowboys.
I have a question on how you define a file. So early on, you were talking about sort of file manipulation, well, not really file manipulation, but you were talking about using files and as data, and you're going to retrieve them and that kind of thing. So are you sort of reliant on a file system to do, so what's in a file, how to use a file, are you managing them with an existing file system or as data?
Sure, so I can answer that. Right now, we are using a pre-existing search tool that associates keyword searches and returns a hash of a file. We rename the files to that hash, and then we can go retrieve that from disk. In the future, we might consider a different organizational system. However, this was easy to prototype and let us rely on the work of existing file systems rather than trying to write our own in-memory storage or something of that sort.
That's good. Thank you. I thought that's sort of what you were doing, but I just want to make sure that I understood. So thanks very much.
Yes, ma'am.
First, I want to say I really liked I like your logo. It's really cool. And I really liked your video. And I especially liked that Adina Menzel and Mike Wazowski were part of your group of analysts. But more directly related to the presentation itself, I'm curious about, at the very end, you talked about other considerations for future models, and the very last one was security standards. And I'm interested in sort of what you were thinking about along those lines, especially because of the challenges we have with sharing data across agencies and, you know, different analysts at different agencies having different levels of clearance and access and all that kind of thing. So I'm curious what you were thinking about along those lines.
Absolutely. So we actually had an extra slide for this. Rodney, would you mind pulling up slide 23, please?
We'll be more than happy to.
Thank you. So you're right, there are a lot of concerns around security, and a big part of what we would have to do is figure out how this fits into the various security models. But there are a couple things we wanted to address. Specifically, we need to figure out how to securely transport information. We were considering using SSL, which is what we're using on our existing web page. We also need to regulate access by security clearance. So we considered a model where essentially we would only allow people to see what was at or below their security clearance within a given agency. However, we also know that many different organizations may use, say, the DoD clearance system, so potentially they could use the information across there. So there would definitely need to be some implementation effort there, but we believe it's possible and very workable to do within a final implementation. We also realized there were substantial concerns around mobile use, and we were thinking, while it's convenient to use a mobile device, we might want to perhaps restrict that to, say, only uploading new information. If you, for instance, take an image in the field, you might be able to upload that, but not use a full workspace. As well as at-rest data encryption. We would certainly want to make sure it's secure when it is not being used. And finally, we would have to figure out how we could ensure that info was not shared with anybody who wasn't cleared for it. Most obvious implication is using the sharing features within our platform. You wouldn't be able to share, for instance, information that was classified with somebody who didn't have the appropriate clearance. Does that answer your question?
That's great. Very thorough. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for the question.
In your original problem statement, you mentioned that one of the challenges or concerns was that information can be overlooked. And so are there, in particular, in your prototype implementation and task jobs groups alerts, where would you see that notion of letting people know that there was additional data available that might not be being considered? Where does that come into play?
So I can answer that. That would be more in the search tool. It's more about the combined database that accesses all of the agency information instead of just accessing one database at a time. So our platform would be combining those databases so you don't have to go to multiple places to search for certain information.
Okay, all right, thanks.
To add to that, there's also substantial functionality around tagging that we would like to add. In other words, if information is tagged with a specific person or region, you could subscribe to that tag and then receive in the alerts tab whenever, say, something new showed up with that tag. Or if you had previously viewed information and it changed, you would see an alert there as well.
There's time for one quick question. Well, it looks like you've stumped the judges. So I think very much appreciate it. Data Cowboys, y'all did a great job. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, judges. We'll get set up for the next one. Y'all can turn off your videos now.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, the next presentation will be made by Intelligence Inc. They are fulfilling the role of an intelligence analyst as well. So there is an entire data set about how to be able to put things on Intelligence Inc. Eric, if you wouldn't mind turning off your video for just a second, appreciate it. This technology is new technology. All of us are working through it as best we can. Students, y'all are doing a fabulous job of kind of bearing with us as we work through all of these different ways of implementing it. We're learning a tremendous amount, but each one of you have done a great job putting the presentations together and really professional in how you've put that together. So we're very happy and very pleased to see how you're all making that happen. We'll be seeing this presentation in just a few minutes. Then after that, we're going to take about a 5-minute break so that everybody gets a chance to walk around, stretch your legs, and then we'll be back. But Intelligence Incorporated, I believe that we are ready. And I know that the judges are just about finished putting their scores in, and we really appreciate all the activity and all the judges and what they are doing for us. They've asked some great questions and really challenging us. So Intelligence Inc., same kind of implementation that we have done in the past, and that is that turn on your audios when you see your first slide. We'll put your first slide up, and then we'll proceed on to your presentation. So we'll go ahead and put your slide up now, and we will be ready when you are ready to get started.
Good afternoon and welcome to Intelligence Incorporated. My name is Margaret Zwang. I'm a freshman electrical engineering major.
My name is Chase Burciaga. I'm a senior mechatronics engineer.
My name is Eric Lamb and I'm
Anna
a junior
Theodore.
chemical engineering major.
My name is Anna Theodore. I am a freshman biomedical engineer.
Next slide, please.
As a terrorist faced justice today, the Nigerian man known as the underwear bomber was sentenced to life in prison for attempting to blow up a jetliner on Christmas Day 2 years ago.
The only thing that prevented the defendant from being successful that day was his own bad luck.
Abu Muttalib's goal, maximum destruction. He sat in seat 19A near the left wing, close to an 11,000-gallon fuel tank.
This was not a failure to collect intelligence. It was a failure to integrate and understand the intelligence that we already had.
But it doesn't have to be like this. Intelligence analysts collaborate every day with members from different agencies across the IC. Using SwiftNet, analysts are able to make personal connections regardless of location or reliance on their limited personal network. With SwiftNet, you have the option to view your profile, network, or private messages. Additionally, a chatbot will provide suggestions according to user preferences. The user will have the option to filter searches to prioritize relevant profiles. Then, search results will be displayed based on an algorithm that passively updates each user's connections, topics of research, and past work. A simple click on a profile gives detailed professional and contact information. In seconds, an analyst will be able to connect to an employee with similar project goals in another agency. This search engine prioritizes horizontal integration between agencies and allows for a more unified U.S. intelligence front. With SwiftNet, we will bridge the communication gap between analysts and protect the security interests of this nation.
Next slide, please. So I'll reiterate the problem statement. Intelligence analysts struggle to find other analysts who possess the information they need to protect this country. This obstructs the urgent flow of critical information that is paramount to making vital real-time decisions. So, as seen in the video, when information is not properly disseminated, national security disasters can occur. So when analysts need information out of their field of expertise, the first thing they do is contact people in their immediate vicinity, whether this be their building or agency. Now, there's one issue with this. Connections are made physically. And if we look at this from a psychological aspect, this ability is limited physically and mentally by something called the Dunbar's number. This number is 150 and it denotes the maximum amount of socially active connections one person can maintain. Now keep in mind, I said maximum, not the median or the mean. And so in reality, this number shrinks. Second, and often considered as a last resort, is a search engine that will attempt to connect one analyst to another, but often fails due to dead profiles and profiles not being updated. So what can we do about this? Next slide, please.
So we considered multiple design options. The first was an anonymity-centric database. Our goal with this was that different intelligence analysts could protect their identity while also discussing important topics. However, after discussing with several analysts, they would prefer to be able to see who they are speaking with in different agencies and establish that connection for future use, not just a one-time thing. With hierarchy, we were considering that at different security clearance levels, there would be different access to the forums as well as the topics. However, yet again, just because your clearance level is lower than someone else's does not mean you're less of an expert. So we wanted everyone to be able to access one another to discuss information. We also considered a new forum and blog-centric platform. So there are already pre-existing platforms out there that are there for intelligence analysts to share data. However, they are inefficient and they are not updated. And so the vital importance is that we have urgency as well as they are constantly updated. And a lot of analysts see it as a hassle to go and update their own profile because they change jobs often. So we find it vastly important that this system is able to update the profiles of the users on its own. So that's where we come in with our simple, effective analyst search engine platform.
Next slide, please.
With that being said, we at Intelligence Incorporated present SwiftNet, connecting analysts made simple. Next slide, please.
So if you look here, you'll see our nice little chatbot. So this chatbot, so as you see on the first bullet, your inputs will feed our algorithm to provide relevant connections, as you can see, sorry. So our goal was to push simplicity. We are targeting 4 separate generations in the IC. We have people, from 60 years old to 20 years old. So a chatbot will allow you to key in a generic term. As you can see, this is what we like to search today. So I'll enter a geographic region, Australia. So, as you can see, let's get specific. Is it tech, policy? Is it trade? So let's say I choose tech. So if I choose tech, it'll pop up satellites, radio communications, maybe engines. So it will search your connections for you and it will reduce the amount of button clicks you have to use and it will push simplicity to its finest. Next slide, please.
Put yourself in the role of an intelligence analyst and think of all the reports you need to write day to day. And then on top of that, all the connections you need to make in order to write those reports. You don't initially know everyone that you want to talk to. Now, with SwiftNet, you don't have to worry about extra work populating a new profile or creating a new biography. For every government-issued analyst's ID and email, a user profile is automatically generated. And given access to analysts' past reports, blog posts, resumes, or queries, etc., they're input into a machine learning algorithm that then outputs specific key phrases and tags that are assigned to individuals, which allows for a more effective, a more powerful, and a more accurate recommendation system for one analyst to find another based on the desired search topics. We help analysts find the analysts that they want to look for the purpose of increasing communication within the intelligence community. Notice there's also an actively update feature in the form of a gentle reminder that allows for users to, if they choose to, actively update their profile to account for changes in job positions or promotions. And so what this does is it refrains from keeping your profile obsolete. Next slide, please.
So in order for this to be an efficient and effective use, we have search results that are convenient and relevant. As Chase mentioned prior, the machine learning component will create these, as you can see, the bar recommendations. So for example, as Russian topography results, if you search that, Anna Theodore is considered an expert in this area because she has 5 bars. She is currently working in a project in this topic and also knows another connection that is similar to the user's connection. So with this ranking system, it helps clarify who is still working in said topic, because a lot of development programs have analysts switching often, as well as how are they known, so we can develop digital trust. Next slide, please.
In the case that an analyst has multiple urgent tasks that require quick response, SwiftNet uses status icons as filters to make sure the user is able to connect expeditiously. For example, say I need an urgent answer to topic X within 24 hours. The first thing I would do is search up topic X in the search bar. The next thing I would do is filter the results to users who are currently online, giving me the ability to quickly connect and contact those who are available. As depicted in this slide, for this given scenario, Chase is my best option because he's both experienced in my desired topic as seen by his ratings, and he is available and online as represented by the green dot next to his name. By sending a message to Chase with an urgency tag, Chase can now receive my message similarly to a starred or flagged email. Now he knows that he should respond to my query as soon as possible. Next slide, please.
So within connections, because there is interagency and interdepartmental development and collaboration, it is vital that we know that connections are reliable sources. So one way that we are ensuring this is, say for example, Margaret is my first direct connection because I know her. That would make Margaret's sister my second connection. So although I do not know Margaret directly, I know that I can trust her work and know that her expertise is near mine because she works closely with Margaret. And so through this, we can establish, hey, I may not know you in my physical sphere of influence. I may not sit at an office desk next to you, but I know that you are still working in a topic similar to mine and that you can help me, even if you may not be in the same building, let alone the same city. Next slide, please.
This is not a run-of-the-mill social media platform. The US intelligence community has the information. We have the intelligence and we have the right analysts. SwiftNet connects the right analysts together as if the security of our nation depends on it. Next slide, please.
And that's 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
From
I'm
all of
glad
us
you
at
hit that
Intelligence
slide.
Corporation.
So judges, if you get a chance, please put on your video and get a chance to ask this team some questions.
So I'll start. That was a really cool presentation. It's a huge challenge to find who's working on the same targets you're working on because we're so vast. So I had a couple questions. You mentioned expertness. How does your tool assess expertness? And the second is, just to be clear, if I'm an analyst working on something, do I have to query into the system to find out who was doing the same work I'm doing? or is there a recommender system that will push names and profiles to me? Thanks.
So I'll answer this one. For what is considered expertness, that would be based on the currency of the projects that you are working on. So because we have that passive upload, if someone has changed jobs, the system will be aware of that. So as you move away from a job, so let's say if you are a month away from working on it versus a year, your rating will go down in said topic. So that's the first qualifier. The second is based on your network. So the people that will be highly prioritized are the ones that have more direct connections relative to me as if I am the user searching. The third is how many mentions in reports. So are you a co-author in a report that has these tagged keywords? Are you mentioned in popular forums such as Tapioca? And that's basically an online discussion board for intelligence analysts. Are you mentioned there? If you are, that also boosts your recommendation. So all of these inputs together will be taken into account to make your 5-star recommendation. And then for your second question, I'm sorry, what was it again? Can you repeat it one more time?
Sure. So do I have to query into the system for analysts who are working the same things I'm working on, or will I get recommender pushes?
Yes, so we were planning on using a little bit of both. So you can search a specific tag if there's something you are urgently interested in and really need help with, but you can also, there's a recommended for you page before you have a search. So because over time you continue to search things that you have questions on, it will continue to plug other experts in the area, or for lack of better words, show you who you need to talk to, even if you don't see them on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Anna. Nice answer. Thank you.
I'm curious about how or if your tool addresses the issue of prioritization. I really liked your presentation. I liked the way everything looked. It wasn't all sort of, it was very informal, and I'm an informal person, so I liked the style of it, but I'm curious about how you addressed prioritization. In other words, I'm sure when you talk to the intelligence analysts, you learned for sure everybody's got too much to do. So if I'm Chase and I got that question because I was the 5-star guy, but I'm in the middle of working on something else, how does Chase know that the question that he just got from you is like a higher priority than something that he's already working on? How are analysts making decisions then about like what they focus on, or how where they prioritize?
One feature that Margaret actually alluded to earlier was the urgent tag. And when discussing this exact question, we actually took into account different tags, I guess, that would appear in terms of messages and notifications on the recipient's end. So in terms of that regard, we would say that our platform allows for expansion of different tags, i.e. priority tags. You know, we have urgent already, but nothing's stopping us from going in and ordering the levels of urgency or priorities, especially on the recipient's end. So if they say, hey, I'm currently busy on this, this, or this, then nothing's stopping us from innovating that feature.
Additionally, a more urgent task could be sent as a push notification, while a less urgent task could just be something you check your inbox for.
And to add on to that, you can have your status readily available. So let's say for some reason you're going to be gone on a vacation for a week, you can change your status and that will be factored into the recommendations. So even if I may be more experienced in a topic than, let's say, Eric is at the current moment based on my job history, if I'm going to be gone on vacation, my recommendation will be lower than his, because we want people to be able to access who they need in that moment. It's time sensitive.
So I think this is great. So my question is sort of about how you've thought through the design and whether or not it's set up to facilitate sort of an API interface with another tool or another system that would allow that system to incorporate, so they would use you to find the experts and all of the things, the great things that what you're suggesting to do, but then package it in a way that it's usable in a machine-to-machine thing, not necessarily just a request to a human analyst.
And remind you, this is your last answer.
So when you search a topic and you are interested in a topic, we will use APIs to integrate maybe the form sys aspect of things to a profile. So an important aspect of ours is simplicity. So every profile will have one page of link. And there you can have links to relevant articles or articles have relevant links to you. This way we can integrate separate platforms.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Get a chance to answer and say thank you to everybody. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a 5-minute break. I have on my clock that it's 3:40, so we'll get back together at 3:45, and we will continue on with the presentations. As you can see, incredible presentations up to this point in time. RevNet will be first up after the break. So again, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, judges.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we are back. Again, the next one is RevNet, and we'll be ready with you and have you up, your screen up in just a few minutes. As soon as your screen is up, RevNet, go unmute and you can get started whenever you are ready.
We are missing one more teammate.
And who is that?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Is Daniel not in one of your, not promoted?
Not yet.
There he is. You got him.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Sorry for that. So whenever y'all are ready, please go ahead and get started.
All right. Howdy, everyone. We are RevNet. I am Brian, a chemical engineer.
I'm Nathaniel Fernandez, a computer engineering major.
Hi, I'm Sabyasachi Gupta, specializing in computer engineering.
I'm Philip Krotz, an aerospace engineer.
Oscar Ashkun, an engineer.
I'm Daniel Kamara, a computer scientist.
And today we will be presenting the Smart Station, the workplace of tomorrow. Next slide, please.
Efficient.
Efficient.
Really efficient. Efficiency.
Efficiency.
Efficiency. Efficient.
Efficient.
Really efficient. Efficiency.
Lose over $11,000 per employee each year due to ineffective communication and collaboration. The NSA, with its estimated 40,000 employees, loses over $400 million a year. What can you do with this money? Invest in more infrastructure to protect our cyberspace freedom, protect American lives. The possibilities are endless. This amount is wasted on ineffective teamwork, and this issue is not limited to the NSA. Major causes of these issues are isolated workspaces where coworkers have difficulty communicating, email overload and conflicting schedules, and information stored in separate locations. These pressing issues can be resolved with our product, the Smart Station, a sleek, redesigned office desk that uses innovative design and technologies to boost collaboration. The Smart Station is a cloud workspace. Just log in and access your digital workspace from anywhere in the office. The all-in-one project management AI saves your progress, sorts your emails by priority, enables easy sharing of sticky notes, and connects you with your coworkers all in one clean interface. The 360-degree rotating monitors allows for easy information sharing, and the circular desk design is ideal for group formation. These innovations allow coworkers the flexibility to easily collaborate with each other when working on projects. The Smart Station promises to revolutionize teamwork worldwide. How will you support the workplace of tomorrow?
All right, so our issue is that static workplaces create barriers that prevent NSA analysts from communicating on projects, which wastes valuable time and money. And we want to solve this problem in order to increase effectiveness and efficiency, so that way we can maximize productivity and the results in the workplace. All right, on next slide.
So here are some of the requirements that we came up with after talking to a network security analyst from the NSA. We would like to improve response time, and of course it has to be secure. It also needs to be mobile to increase collaboration. We want to reduce info access time and project completion time. Now next, Philip will talk about our designs. Next slide.
Now, our team at RevNet, we had 3 previous designs that we were considering. The first design was separating the analysts into their own soundproof rooms and providing them with a HoloLens, which would allow them to view their emails, daily tasks, and other important information through a virtual reality device. Now, our second design was a sub-vocalization headset, and what that is that tracks your vibrations in the muscle from your brain to your chin, and then it articulates your speech without you having to actually say anything. then it's like putting your ideas up onto a computer screen. Now with this sub-vocalization headset, we would have paired that with the smart glasses or some type of AI system. And then our third design was a system that we called CALS, and it actually was mobile desks that worked in a grid system that would move around and allow analysts to work with one another easier if they were working on a project together. However, with our final product, it was chosen over these three because our final product was the best at decreasing physical and collaborative barriers. Now on to Nathaniel with our final hardware design.
Next slide, please. The Smart Station is a cloud workspace. Just log in via the interface and access your personal digital workspace from any desk in the office. This gives teammates more mobility to sit together as each desk is identical. The interface can also be installed into conference rooms, tables, giving you valuable access to your desk during meetings. After logging in, all your previously closed tabs and apps open automatically right where you left off, thus decreasing the setup time to access information. No more looking through your search history for a lost website. Below, you can see a 3D prototype model of various features. Everything is touchscreen, and a stylus is provided if you want to hand sketch models or write out notes. These notes can be easily shared, which we will discuss later. It is important to socially distance during a pandemic. However, this means coworkers trying to collaborate on the same screen will have a bad viewing angle. The Smart Station's 2 monitors swivel 360 degrees to painlessly solve this problem. Security is of the utmost importance. The Smart Station has many security features built into it to minimize the threat of breaches. Each NSA analyst logs in with private credentials and a fingerprint scan. Most importantly, none of the information is stored locally, but is in the NSA secure cloud. We've upgraded the Smart Station with several features that can really enhance the Smart Station. These include a portable storage area for personal items like a coffee mug or any pictures, noise canceling headphones if you'd like them, or outlets. Next slide, please. Imagine that you are sitting in your cubicle and you have a question about your code. Traditionally, you'd have such a headache trying to schedule a meeting, start a call, and figure out screen sharing. What if there was a way you could just turn around? Introducing productivity pods. The innovative crescent shape of the Smart Station is ideal for forming pods of 3 to 4 team members. This boosts collaboration by enabling analysts to speak in real time. The layouts are space efficient and fit in every office space. Now I'll turn it over to Sabasiachi to explain the interface.
Thanks, Nathan. Can I have the next slide, please? So what makes this workstation design unique is the inbuilt smart interface. The smart interface, which works as a central hub, is the confluence of 3 things. First, it has a remote access interface for your workspace. Secondly, it connects you to your NSA cloud workstation network. And lastly, it runs a virtual AI engine which declutters and streamlines your workspace. Not only does this interface helps network analysts log in, but also provides them with a clean interface design and a host of features that makes collaboration digitally and physically a breeze. Now, it has been estimated that 1/3 of our workday is wasted sorting through mails, messages, organizing them, prioritizing them. For this reason, the interface includes the Alerts tab. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So an AI engine here sorts through all the emails, messages, and gives you the most important tasks and information you need. You don't have to go through those 1,000 emails and messages daily. So you quickly respond to your coworkers, never miss a meeting, and be more collaborative. Next, we have a progress tab. The progress tab has 2 sections. The first one tracks the progress of your current task. So it says who is working on what project and how many tasks are still remaining. Second one is the resource tab. The resource tab is basically an AI engine combs through the existing NSA central knowledge base and brings up needed resources related to known network vulnerabilities. Now we will have the case IDs, we'll see who has worked on it, what is the description, and with one click, you can collaborate with that agent who has already previously worked on the project. So everything is readily available to you and you guys are on the same page. Next, we have a schedule tab. We find out availability of our project partners. Using this, we can set reminders, set up meetings according to your conveniences, one place for all your collaboration needs. Like we all like to scribble, right? Ideas, thoughts, important points, drawings, but keeping them in all together is cumbersome, moving them specially, and you lose them. And it's also a security risk and you can't share them. So we added a new feature called Note. Here you jot down your thoughts with the given stylus, and with one button you share or save them with your colleagues. It's always with you. Whenever you leave the desk and go to a new workstation, you can quickly log in and all your notes are with you. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So here are a couple of prototype renders of the smart interface UIs. Also, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. The simplicity and the elegance of the design improves efficiency by manyfold. Can I have the next slide? So in short, we are presenting
Glad that's your last slide because that was 10 minutes.
In short, we are presenting the future of workspace collaboration. Welcome to Smart Station.
All right, judges, if you will, and panelists, if y'all will make your video live, and judges, you have 5 minutes for questions.
So I think this is great. One of the things, of course, you can imagine we're struggling with in our environment is how we position desks so that people are, well, we can't literally put 6 feet between everybody, but at least to try to reduce the elements of transmission possibilities with, even when people are wearing masks. So the notion that you can turn these around, that the monitor flips around and can reconfigure your, drag them over to a team meeting and drag it back to where you came from and stuff. I think that's great. So the one question I have is that it's sort of is it tied to being able to use wireless network connectivity, or would you treat cable connected, cable network connectivity the way you would power?
So I can take this question as I dealt with really the interface behind it. The interface is built into the desk into each desk. So you would not be able to accidentally remove it from the workspace, which would be a security risk. However, since all desks can be equipped with this interface, you would essentially have your digital workspace wherever you'd work, whether that be in the office or if in a conference room with other team members. So you'd have access to your cloud workspace wherever you go.
Great. Thank you.
I have a quick question about just in general, what considerations did y'all make for individuals with disabilities, but also when teams are physically separated and have to be for whatever reason?
Yeah, I can take that question. So what happens is, like, if the DEX has all the wheels to it, right? So it is like semi-movable. So you can accommodate the disabled person, and also it's height adjustable. So depending on the size of the height, you can adjust it. And now coming to the next part of your question, like, so it's a digital workspace. Basically, if you're collaborating with another team partner, like let's say you want to physically collaborate with them, you just don't have to drag your system like to that new place. It might be 1 floor down, right? You just walk there with nothing in your hand, go sit in a desk, unassigned desk, and you have the interface. Just log in with your credentials, give them their biometric, and you have all your notes, all your works immediately available to you. Collaborate, come back to your same location back.
Thank you.
I love the logo. I thought that was fantastic. And I was looking forward to seeing a cluster of these cows as being a productivity herd. So I was a little distraught that it was a pod, but that's okay. I think this is a really cool idea. And again, my question was similar to what Beth was getting at. It's like, okay, so I now need to be able to move these around and wheel them around. I'd love to be able to do this in a wireless environment or figure out a safe way to do it securely such that it becomes wired. So I think you've done a great job explaining that. Very, very nice work.
Thank you.
All right, judges, have you exhausted your questions? I think you have. All right, thank you so much. RevNet, y'all did a great job and obvious from the questions. So y'all are more than welcome to step out of the room and we'll go on to the next presentation.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, we're going to be taking a slight break again to allow the judges to submit their scores. It won't take very long. The next team that will be moving is Lockdown. One of the things that I do want to say is a very unique part of all Aggies events, but I must say that this Aggies event has been particularly special because of the number of mentors and the quality of mentors that you've had available. You had mentors available for you from the NSA, but also from Accenture. And each one of the mentors brought a specific and unique skill set to each one of your teams. And I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to thank all of the mentors who interacted with you and worked with them. We'll leave the Microsoft Teams environment up for you to be able to thank them and send notes to them. But each one of the teams, please be sure that you reach out to the mentors that helped you out so much during the weekend and provided you with a great deal of guidance and support. It's been very fascinating to watch you develop over the weekend and fascinating to see how you've come together as teams. And that's quite honestly something that we were very worried about. That is the virtual nature of this and how we can collaborate and innovate in an environment that is virtual. You have knocked it out of the park, and it has been really interesting and fascinating to watch you develop as a team and watch you solve these very complicated problems. I believe that we're ready for Lockdown next. And Lockdown, as soon as you get a chance to see your slide up and you turn on your audio, you are more than welcome to take it away.
All right, howdy everyone. We are Team Lockdown, and we'll go ahead and start by introducing ourselves here on the next slide. Next slide, please. My name is Justice Morales. I am a junior industrial distribution major.
My name is Sam Roth. I'm an electrical engineering major.
My name is Elizabeth Hull, and I'm a mechanical engineering major.
My name's Abelardo Peralta, and I'm a manufacturing and mechanical engineering technology major.
My name is Caden Brown. I'm an aerospace engineering major.
Next slide, please.
Bob works the graveyard shift, reading massive amounts of data and generating reports for the NSA. As part of Bob's role, he needs to quickly synthesize data and communicate with other government employees to keep our country safe from harm. This presents a big challenge, as Bob's workplace and most offices for the NSA lack the modern technology which could make his job easier. This is what Bob's computer screen looks like now. With all of this clutter, how can Bob be sure that he didn't miss a piece of data that can be the difference between life and death?
Our solution, Lockdown, is an innovative software that maintains the integrity of data, fosters collaboration, and delivers flexibility to the user. Our customizable workspace will make visualizing and working with data from various government agencies much simpler. Data can be shared easily among users, and by allowing for open, clearance-based collaboration space, we will increase productivity in the workplace. Now, Bob can rest easy, knowing that when he wakes up for his next 14-hour shift, his workspace will be well organized, and can work efficiently with his team to ensure the safety of our nation.
Awesome. Next slide, please. So typically when people first hear about the position security analyst, they might think of a workplace similar to this one, depicted in movies and TV shows. We see hardware and monitors everywhere and data scattered all across those computers. However, next slide, please. Sometimes these workplaces look more similar to this, with 1 to 3 monitors and technology lagging by a few years throughout the office. Next slide, please. So we first want to answer the question that you might be thinking, what does a security analyst actually do? So to answer that, we identified 4 job duties within that, and created a flowchart to show the collection, search, synthesis, and using that data to generate intelligence. We identified the fact that all of these different duties are not independent of one another. They iterate several times over a project, and a security analyst will typically collaborate in teams of about 5 to 10. So next we identified a persona here on the right-hand side to better understand this role, where we included the typical age range, hobbies, and the goals being synthesizing data quickly, conducting these operations efficiently, and frustrations being timeliness of information, older technology, and inefficient data visualization. So now I'll pass it off to Ellie to go a little more in depth on some of these job responsibilities. Next slide, please.
So we created a mind map to further emphasize the job of a security analyst. The main points of their job is shown, with it boiling down to gathering data quickly and efficiently, while also collaborating with others within or outside their agencies. Next slide, please.
Okay, so considering the workspace and persona of the data analyst, 5 design requirements were identified. On the right, the requirements are listed in priority order, starting with communication for proactive analysis, data security, user friendliness, scalability to new devices, and an easy implementation for current employees. Next slide, please. Now, we built our solution around the idea of a cloud-based system that provides seamless intelligence integration between agencies. Due to time constraints and prioritizing the needs of data analyst roles, we focus our solution to fix the collaboration and user experience while keeping in mind the common cloud data source. Next slide, please.
We took everything we learned about the data analysis from our mentors and other peer mentors. We took all this information and really want to make a tailored experience for the user. So before we dived into making a solution, we asked many questions to figure out what our product would look like and what an ideal solution would be. Once we got a good idea of what an ideal solution would be, we really introduced 2 new innovative solutions to fix the data analysis problem. And that is a new widget interface and also a collaborative workspace environment. I can talk about this, but I would really like to show you in our next demonstration. Next slide, please. Interface that the NSA workers will have the pleasure of working with. To keep everything simple, the first page just shows the projects our current user is working on, as well as some notifications, tasks, and invites they might see throughout the day. Clicking on Project A, we can see a new screen pops up. Let's go ahead and type in some information we're looking for. After clicking Enter, a little tile pops up with the information that we searched for. This tile we are calling a widget. Let's go ahead and move this off to the side and bring up another tile. This time, searching for a map. Now that we have our map open, let's drag it down and compare it to the other data tile we have. But I want to make it a little bigger to see this map in more picture. There we go, that's better. Turns out we don't need the other widget. Let's go ahead and move that to the trash. Collapsing this back down and moving it to the top left gives us more space. Now let's bring up a new thing called a workspace. This is a collaborative environment among all the different people that are invited to join. The plus at the bottom is how you invite new people to your workspace. Now let's go ahead and take our widget that we were working on previously and drag this into the workspace so everyone here can see it. Clicking on the workspace, this is the view that everyone can see when they zoom in. As seen here, me and my teammate are both in the same workspace. This is allowing us to collaborate in real time, whereas he's drawing the picture and I'm writing the note. With this new collaborative environment, we did think about the security problems that would arise. Let's say someone drags in a document that is not cleared for everyone that is working in the workspace. You'll get a message saying that people in this workspace do not have the proper clearance for this file. This will remove the file from the workspace, and then no data breach has been made. Finally, let's move this workspace over to the side real quick and take a look back at our notifications. As you can see, we have a few notifications and a few tasks. Let's say I want to get working on this report. All I have to do is click on the task, and right there, a Word document pops up, leaving all my other widgets right in place for me to reference throughout the time writing the report. This is our brand new data analysis and team collaboration software. We hope that our innovations help save time and save lives when it matters the most. This can be implemented in many different ways, and while we just did an overview here, there are many more features that plan to be rolled out. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Sam. So some of the key features that we really focused on was making it personal and allowing a large collaborative scale whiteboard for different agencies and different agents to work on. With the personal aspect, we really focused on allowing them to personalize their own workspace, as well as the ability to control where and when all of their information, all their widgets are. That way it makes it very easy, it's very organized, and it prevents them from possibly looking over or losing where they were with their tabs. In the collaborative workspace, we kind of like to think of it as a pinboard. Basically, as you have seen in some like spy movies, we have all the information on like one giant board. It has pins in it, and they like to draw or use strings in order to attach them. This is kind of a similar idea. It allows for easy collaboration. They can edit it and work together to complete the project at hand. The introduction of the widgets allows just for easy organization of the intelligence, as well as having it within your project so you know where all that information is at all times. We'd also like to introduce the Analyst Assistant, which is the search bar to, it allows for easy queries to be made, as well as it allows you to set notifications, get in touch with other people in this field. And when you search for a query, it will alert you when other agents from other agencies have also looked at this information. Next slide, please. So some other alternative solutions we thought of. In the black were kind of the back-end solutions that we originally started out with. Given the complexity of those types of situations and our time constraints on the weekend, those were ideas that we had in mind when coming up with the UI system, which our ideas for those are in the orange, but we could not obviously come up with a backend solution. So in the orange, we have an Access/Excel layout idea, but try and think of communicating in a large scale fashion using Excel. It's very difficult, it's not user friendly, so we decided to come down with the lockdown widgets design. Next slide, please. So some next steps, we would like to try to allow for mobile devices. It allows for on-the-go data transfer in the field. However, with security risk, that's something we're going to have to look into a little bit more, and allowing for further customization. That way it makes it more personal and allows for the user to be more efficient in their task. Next slide, please. We'd like to thank everyone for your time, as well as the NSA and all of our mentors for giving us plenty of information in order to complete our task. We are very excited about our project, and we would like to open the floor to any questions.
Perfect time. It is now time for questions. You'll have 5 minutes for questions, judges.
All right, so I'll start. I'm particularly interested in the user friendliness. What did in your research, what did analysts tell you about what is user friendly to them? What are some of their obstacles that you were trying to overcome? Thanks.
Okay, so in our research, a computer analyst as well as a security analyst was telling us that the features they would like to have would be black and white, or excuse me, bright and dark modes because they work around the clock. They also would have liked to be able to customize their background when they worked in settings just like Zoom. They enjoyed the idea of having to be able to do a virtual background and changing the design of the layout. And so those would be things that are accompanied in the settings.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth.
So there's a lot of great stuff in here with the widgets. I was waiting for the security check in there, so I was glad that that came along. You know, one of the things you mentioned early on was maintaining data integrity. So I would assume that part of that is part of your thinking along those lines, that as you're manipulating data in this workspace, that there's some sort of version control as people begin to manipulate it. What are some of your thoughts along those lines?
So some of the manipulation obviously would take place in the workspace. Our idea with security risk in mind is anyone who is invited to the workspace should be there in the workspace. They were asked to join. However, if as we showed, any security risks that were trying to enter the workspace, it would be canceled out. But all the work that has been saved in the workspace should be allowed to be taken back out to anyone who may need.
And to build off of that a little bit as well, the other factor was that we were considering some of those back-end solutions and how the data would actually be organized and come into the system, and then found that we didn't have quite as much time as we would have wanted to dive into that and really figure out where the data would be sorted. But we would sort of assume that we could have a private cloud-based system that uses keywords and tagging with that data. And so basically it would be a whole, like a taxonomy in terms of like data, and it would be across all the different organizations. So that way we could classify data with regards to just universal tags.
Okay, thanks. And just a note on professionalization, this is fantastic that you all have the same background with the logos. That is really nicely done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't really have a question, but I just want to say I want that desktop environment.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We really
All right, so you got your first customer.
Awesome, awesome. The widgets idea is something we definitely investigated heavily, and we put a lot of time into really understanding the customer. And with that, we were able to come up with a really innovative solution, I think. So we are very excited to present it to you.
Yeah, I love the widgets. Nice touch.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and y'all give the judges thanks, and we'll be moving on to the next team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, we are again thanking everybody along the way. Most of the things that you don't realize, and those of you who are participating in this, we'll be getting ready for the next team, which is of course Palm Telecom. But there's a number of people who have been operating in the background, who have been setting this whole thing up and putting the whole thing together. So it's really a team effort of putting one of these events on. And first of all, we have to really thank our partners, and that's been the NSA. Carla has been a tremendous job and done a tremendous job throughout the entire weekend. And then Don Bailey has been just handling so many different details that you might realize in behind the scenes. And Erin as well, while she hasn't been quite as active as normal, yeah, she's always been in the middle, and Jim Donnell as well. So all the entire team that has coordinated and put all of this and spent some time getting ready for you, I think we really want to give a great deal of thanks to, because it does take a certain amount of effort to put it together. My biggest thanks, though, really goes to you, the students. You hung in there. You really surprised us. We were incredibly surprised and pleased. We knew that you would do a good job. We knew that you would respond well to the activity, but honestly, you knocked it straight out of the park. And we are really incredibly proud of all the work that you did throughout the entire weekend. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and let Palm Technology get ready to take over and tell us what, Palm Telecom, not Palm Technology, but Palm Telecom, take over and help them understand and provide their presentation. So again, Palm, as soon as you see your slide up, go ahead and unmute yourself and take it away.
Howdy, we are Palm Telecom, bringing a collaborative environment straight to your palms. My name is Brandon Rodriguez, and I am a senior mechanical engineering student.
My name is Alexa Wellman, and I'm a senior electrical systems engineering technology major.
My name is Christian Gurley, and I'm a senior biomedical engineering major.
My name is Jackson Wedlick, and I'm a senior electrical systems engineering technology major.
Next slide, please.
You're looking at a small portable computer called the IBM 5100. It weighs about 50 pounds.
You can plug it in
This is
anywhere.
iMac. The whole thing is translucent. You can see into it. It's so
Project some
cool.
4 million people will be using personal wireless communicators by the year
Now we're at
1998.
100,000 people, so who knows where we're going next.
This is one device, and we are calling it iPhone.
Elon Musk wants to upgrade your brain. The company plans to develop brain implants that connect your brain to a computer.
There is growing alarm over the use of altered videos online, especially those known as deep fakes, which are highly realistic looking and inaccurate.
Fake, disgusting news.
Deep fakes will make for even more complicated arguments about what is fake news and what is real. The very real question is, could deep fakes weaken democracy?
We want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country.
Telecom is bringing the cutting-edge artificial intelligence and machine learning to the frontline analysts within the NSA. Our solution provides for the necessity to keep up with nefarious actors stifling any initiative to meddle in the United States elections through the use of deep fakes.
Next slide.
Data quadruples every day, and this has significantly increased the volume and size of data telecommunication analysis received. This overwhelming data has made it very difficult for the limited amount of analysts to process data with ease. Now, this imposes a great threat to national security, especially throughout presidential elections, because adversaries with hostile agendas take advantage of these situations in many different forms, such as deepfakes. Next slide, please. This image helps us visualize just how much data there is in the internet and just how much happens in 1 minute, such as the 190 million emails sent. From this, we can better understand what a telecommunication analyst experiences in a daily work environment. Our proof of concept implements machine learning and AI systems and brings these functionalities to the daily work environment of telecommunication analysts. These self-learning systems will filter down data by identifying targets and determining threats effortlessly, and will revolutionize the way analysts process data and collaborate with one another. Next slide, please.
We developed 5 measurable requirements based on feedback from NSA mentors. First was horizontal collaboration for internal and external communication. Then we moved on to our trends and dashboards, which our goal was to stay ahead of the threats. For our third, embedded tools, our goal was to centralize the workforce or the workflow of all these analysts. Next, with the modular case environment, we are bringing together different work roles in collaboration throughout the NSA and other agencies. And then finally, fast analysis and dissemination utilizing machine learning and artificial intelligence. Next slide, please.
During the ideation phase, Palm Telecom, our team, came up with a couple initial designs that we decided not to go through with. The first of which is an external commercial cloud-based application, such as Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. The problem with this is these security measures will not be compatible with the high security classified nature of NSA data. The second initial design was fully dependent on outsourced databases. The problem with this is that analysts would not be able to connect to the API because of read-only permissions. We would like to change this and make sure read-write permissions are on so we can make truth marking and feedback to our deep learning models to make them more robust. Next slide, please. So this gets into our solution. We aim to bring AI machine learning into the palm of an analyst with embedded tools within our digital workspace. This is going to be a web and network-based hybrid digital workspace accessible across the intelligence community. Now, we are stressing the importance of having all of these machine learning-based deepfake analysis tools within the palm of the analyst and giving them confidence percentage with reports after tools are done doing analysis on data, and then updating databases and trend dashboards to get this information out to the rest of the analysts working on the case. Again, collaboration through modular case files is going to promote horizontal collaboration within the NSA and outside. Next slide, please.
This will be a video, so if you could push play in the bottom left-hand corner. Thank you. It seems like the audio isn't coming through on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and narrate for you. We've just gone through our Trends tab, and we went to the...
For our demonstration, the analyst is going to open up the app from his desktop. It's going to default to the Trends tab, which shows all the most recent trends, as well as his tasks on the right. He's going to open up the Case tab to show his cases. He sees that there is a high urgency case that needs to be dealt with. He's going to go ahead and open that case and then see all of the workspaces where he can go into his specific telecom analysis workspace. Within this, he sees his request for information as well as an activity log on the right. He clicks into this request for information to see the details. This shows that we need a request for deepfake analysis concerning 2 media files. If he clicks on the link to those files, it'll bring him to the raw data within the case. At the top, he'll select an action and send the video files to his telecom analysis workspace. He'll then be able to analyze these files straight from his workspace. The tool starts out by preparing the files and packaging them, and then continues on with the analysis. This analysis is using all of the leading tools embedded within his workspace. It generates the reports and then exports them. It brings up a view for the analyst at the end, showing the overall confidence levels and then potential errors from the databases or tools. He's going to select one of these potential errors and then manually review and have the ability to truth mark in real time and update the model. He sees that this grabbed 2, so he's going to say incorrect, reevaluate, and then update the model. Once he's updated the model, he'll be able to see the updated report digest. It shows the renewed hits and the new confidence levels. You can go ahead and update the case and then sees that deepfake analysis report within his case file. And then he'll go back to the Trends tab at the end.
Next slide. So Palm Telecom is showing our innovation through this solution by utilizing the AI and machine learning as force multipliers for the analysts on the ground. We're incorporating the latest tools and research, and we're taking that AI and machine learning technology and placing it at the fingertips of the frontline analyst, who now does not have to have the knowledge required to use these typical tools, but they can use it without having that knowledge. Next slide. Our future innovations are making similar software applications and expanding this to other NSA department analysts and other work roles, and then also embedding other tools for threat vectors. Next slide. In conclusion, we are tackling this big problem of the massive amount of data and the authentication of the deepfakes over the telecommunications, the telecommunications realm. And this is really a big problem because we saw the impact that this has. And our solution shows that we use machine learning and artificial intelligence-based analysis with the embedded databases to have modular collaboration and then have that all in one digital workspace. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Palm, good job. Palm, good job. And we'll allow the judges to have 5 minutes for y'all to have questions.
So for me, can you Can you go into a little bit more detail on the collaboration part of this? How analysts would collaborate on do you share? I mean, how does that get shared so that
Yes,
people?
ma'am. So with the modular case-based design, we have the access control and all the files within each case, right? And so within that case, you can add people. And as we saw in the demonstration, there was the activity log on the right. So you can see all the different things that are happening within that activity log. And each case is its own workspace. And that was a request from one of our NSA mentors that they wanted a space that they could work on a specific task with all the people that had an interest or were stakeholders in that task, and then be able to update the people who are interested in that task.
The good thing about this is that they would have the security clearance, so it would be sectioned into each case, and they would have the security clearance to access that. So whether it be Intel, Analysis, or Telecom, Analyst.
So do they each so I'm just trying to figure this out. So you have the workspace for one particular case and the team of people or whatever that have interest in that are working on that. And so then can they each like annotate the results and comment on it or whatever within the tool?
Yes.
Right. So within that activity log on the right, we saw there was a comment bar at the bottom. You can either comment in that sort of chat base, or you can annotate the files themselves. In one of the slides, I know we went through it pretty quickly, but there was a bar that showed comments concerning files. And so that's just a sort of real-time space that, you know, I can go in and see what someone's done. I get these RFIs and I take in that data and, you know, the embedded links and the embedded tools and just sort of that cohesive workflow is really what we're trying to push here.
Okay, then I'm sorry, I know I'm monopolizing this right now, but just, so you capture that? So that's sort of like a discussion, right? The chat bar and the comments and things. So do you capture that and keep it so that, so you do that thing and then maybe a similar thing comes along later, whoever know, you know, however much time later. And so you've got a team together and somebody will say, you know what, we talked about this on this other thing.
Yeah. So ultimately these cases are modular, and the goal of this is, so for example, with a deepfake video comes in, the telecommunication analyst can go through and determine if it's authentic. But for example, what if the person's speaking a different language? Well, you'll have to go and request that from a language analyst so they can go in and they can go and do a translated version of that video into that file. And ultimately, once that file has been determined to be authentic and all the information has been collected, that can then be sent off to higher up people within the NSA or to task force and other people. So ultimately, everything's within there, and those comments are saved within a work log.
Okay.
And so everything is encompassing in that file for that case.
All right, that's great.
That also kind of incorporates your need to know, because we all know that for disclosure of classified materials, you have the clearance level, but then a need to know. Just because you have a certain level doesn't mean that you get to access all information below your level, right? So that can allow someone who has knowledge of this need to know and says, okay, here's a human resource that I need for this project. There's my need to know. I can establish that base clearance level and then bring them into this workspace.
That's great. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate the discussion.
You have time for one more quick question.
So I'll ask a question here about your AI component relative to the deep fakes. So you had a number of algorithms that you showed running, and each one of those produced sort of a score and or a confidence associated with that. Do you have some way of thinking about how you would sort of express more transparency to the user? You said the user doesn't have to know how the actual algorithms work, but they do need to interpret the results. So what would be the process there?
Right, so they would have the hits within that report, like we showed, that we can click on the ones that we had potential errors on, but you can also go and click on every single hit that it's looking for eye blinking discrepancies and behavioral characteristics, and just that list is there within that report. And so you could go into that, and that's within that report. It's not just the surface level. And you know, I think a good idea for a future implementation might be, you know, a sort of question mark off to the left, and you know, you can click on that. And let's say I'm not the deepfake, you know, specialist, but I can go and click in this question mark and see what sort of analysis this is doing, and what this is trying to accomplish through its analysis.
All right, very good, thank you.
All right, Palm Telecom, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Okay, we are coming to the close of this Aggies event for the final presentations. We have one more presentation to go through. As you can tell, it's really been outstanding. And again, I don't envy the judges, because the judges are going to have a great deal of difficulty trying to make sure that they make the proper selection. The last thing I wanted to do is to talk just a little bit about the university certificate that we have available through Engineering Entrepreneurship. It's called the C3 certificate, and it's called C3 because it stands for Concept, Creation, and Commercialization. And the reason that we called it that is because that's exactly what people do. They come up with a concept, they create a solution to that concept, and then they commercialize it. And that's what all engineers and all people who are involved in this actually do. So that's why I have a university certificate. It's at 13 hours, and some of those hours are elective hours and can be taken while you're doing your own major as well. So you have only 2 required courses. One of them is a 1-hour seminar course, and the other one's a lean startup course. And the other requirement is participating in an Aggies event. And since you have participated in an Aggies event, you wind up being able to at least qualify for the beginning of that certificate. If you're interested, go to our website and apply, and we'd be more than happy to help you achieve that certificate as your part of your graduation and your degree plan. All right, the last presentation that we have for today is for COAS. I believe that's how you say it, and I know I'm going to get corrected. So COAS, I know that you are waiting and ready to go as soon as we get a chance to put your slide up, and then you can take it away. And we're looking forward to hearing your presentation as well. So we'll get your slides going, and then you'll have an opportunity to take it away.
Howdy everyone, my name is Dania Sayeda and I'm a current biomedical engineering student.
Hey, my name is Austin and I'm a computer science student. Also, is this being shared? It looks like it's just on yours.
My name is Brandon DeAlmeida and I'm a computer engineering major.
My name is Salim Carson. I'm a general engineering major.
Hi, my name is Alex Futelma and I'm a mechanical engineer.
And we are Kios, analyzing combined data made easy. Next slide, please.
Productivity is essential in the workplace. After all, we've all heard the phrase time equals money, and we believe this to be true. Being highly productive is what allows companies to be both competitive and grow as a business. Data analysts across all fields spend many tedious hours poring over multiple data sets in order to find correlations between them. Experts say it's impossible to accurately go to appropriate depths in this data, as it's too much for any person to do by hand. This is a massive loss in both productivities as well as potentially returned value by insight, and a major time sink for those who need to relate different types of data. But what if there was a solution that allowed for quick and accurate correlation of these data sets? Kios allows analysts to observe various types of data together, easily and efficiently, by automatically highlighting potential correlations between different data types and sets. This revolutionary process allows analysts to easily gain insight to nearly limitless questions, such as when did this person start planning to commit an act of terrorism? By utilizing data already gathered by the NSA, such as a person's Twitter and browser history, Kios can give insight into a few answers. For example, Kias can detect behavioral changes by looking at this data in order to give insight into a potential timeline faster than any expert could on their own. This way, Kias could not only help improve productivity in companies everywhere, but even aid in national security by identifying civil unrest. Looking towards the future, Kias could help companies and organizations worldwide, such as the NSA, by revolutionizing data processing already being performed by giving more accurate insights into data, more efficiently and accurately than analysts could ever do alone.
Next slide, please.
The issue is, since this was an embedded video, we're having a little bit difficult time of trying to move into your presentation. Hold on, we'll get there.
Thank you. So data and analysts' main problem is that utilizing multiple sources of data takes too much time for one scientist to do. Additionally, it takes a high level of domain expertise in order to complete this task. Next slide, please. There's a clear and evident need in the data analyst field for something to lessen time and increase efficiency when it comes to making decisions regarding analyzing data in bulk. Data analysts need a tool that can compare volumes of data and can work with available data resources when needed. Next slide, please.
How can we address this issue? There needs to be a solution that's able to analyze individual data sets at a larger scale that can be done with traditional means. We need to be able to interpret different sets of data to allow for comparison. Further, these interpretations should be translated into something readable. Correlations need to be found between input sets, and finally, a machine learning model should be utilized in order to have a high degree of efficiency. Next slide, please.
Each of the designs we created have variances in the way processed data is output. Our first design combines two data sets and gives a statistical rundown on similarities between the two data sets. Our second design finds deviations within the data sets in order to create insightful patterns. And our last design aims to have the program answer a specific question with the use of the data sets. Next slide, please. We chose to implement the second design, which creates insightful patterns within our standalone app. Kios is insightful. It lets us know the change in continuity of behavior over time and when exactly that change occurred. Kios is abstractable. The same settings could be used across multiple different types of data sets. Lastly, Kios is effortless. It requires minimal input from the analyst and gives a simple yet extensive output. Next slide, please.
When you pass the data sets to our program, we interpret this data using cutting-edge models. This interpretation represents all of the data, all of the different data as one type of information. Things like text and images are going to be side-by-side comparable in our data set. This means a single data scientist can efficiently access information from all of the available sources. Whereas before this, they could waste a lot of time going between the different sources of data and trying to apply those and interpret those for their specific needs. Next slide, please. This results in combined data sets from different sources where within this data set, no matter where it's from, all of the data is going to be interpreted in the same way. This means scalability to as many types and sources of data as are available. Then, because of the way the data is represented, it's going to be easy and effective to apply cutting-edge methods to the combined data set so that you can make predictions and whatever else you need to apply to your data. And the combination we get is efficiency in terms of a single data scientist being able to both apply cutting-edge models directly to the data and to take into account information from as many sources as they have available to them. This makes decisions more powerful through more information and the speed at which a data scientist can deliver that decision. Next slide, please.
Kias innovates not only by combining data side by side as current available services do, but also by providing analyses of two data sets through the implementation of various processing techniques together that can find relationships such as correlation between the two data sets and variances to identify trends for the data scientist. Next slide, please. Moving forward, we want to continue our emphasis on productivity by expanding the scope of Kios into APIs and automating its data science tasks. This allows the data scientists to use Kios within their workspace, such as Python or R, as forms of integrated packages, allowing them to further optimize their work and automate some of the more standard work. Moreover, we want to continue our emphasis on security by making sure functions within Kios are internally made, thus removing any data breach risk. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening, and we hope you consider Kios for your business needs. Is there any questions we can answer?
Kios, thank you very much. All right, panelists and judges, if you'll come on live, and you have 5 minutes for questions.
Beth was going to jump first. I'll say something first. So, hey, great job on that presentation. There's a lot of work involved in sort of that data wrangling process for data science. That's some estimates are like that's 80% of the data. And I guess what I'm trying to understand a little better here in this presentation is you mentioned the correlations. Are you thinking of the correlations relative to the analysis step at the end, or are you thinking of correlations much earlier in this flow so that you're using the ability to correlate data to help you create that normalized representation? Or something different?
So the main thing about interpreting this data is so that we can compare different forms, such as if we wanted to get a person's Twitter history, for instance, and compare it with, say, medical data. To that end, we need to convert that data into a comparable form of, say, integers or another type, so that they can be put in and we can find correlations between them. So in the sense, we're moving toward, throughout the process, to be able to find correlations.
And you're imagining doing that conversion by looking at that particular data set as opposed to looking at that data set in the context of the question that you would like to answer, or in the context of the other data that you might have available to you.
To answer that question, I think we could talk more about the earlier step within our design, which is interpreting the data. And so the way we would do that is, say we have text or images, then we would apply sentiment analysis through BERT, which is a Python API. And so that was one thing we talked about in the security consideration, because while the BERT API is not internally made, that means it has some security risks. But going back to our main topic, if we can, that's what we meant by interpreting the data to something that is understandable. So if you have text messages, you can, and browser history, as we described in the video, we can turn that into numbers, so we can be done through correlations. And then you can also find the variances, for example, from the mean on those text messages and on those browser searches. And this would allow you to identify potential outliers. And for example, this could be implemented into what we research such as the Skynet program, which I believe would identify several, such as the Skynet program, which would identify several features before flagging someone as a potential threat. And this could be implemented, for example, as a feature within the Skynet program. I hope I answered this question adequately.
Yeah, thank you very much.
My question was actually very similar to Dave's, and I think you guys covered that for the most part. The only thing I would just ask is if, sort of from a mechanical process standpoint, for these disparate data types that are coming in, do you envision using R, or using the type of mechanism that R has to sort of define what type of data each of these things are, and then allowing that to use them together?
So if you're questioning bringing in different data types, I think we can classify, well, we did it in Python first, but we can classify things like a string, images, and stuff like that. That's stuff that we can figure out. And then from that, you can select from a number of models. and do what is essentially transfer learning from a pre-trained model. You generate representations of the data, and then you can put that all together, and you can use that data set to look at multiple different types of data.
Perfect, thank you.
And you have time for about one more question. Okay, judges, thank you so much. And thank you very much for this final presentation. So, Koas,
Thanks, you
we
guys.
really appreciate it. And now what we're going to do is give you an opportunity to say goodbye and thank you.
No, yeah, thank you for your time and your consideration. We've definitely enjoyed this competition. We hope to be back again.
That's good. I love this competition.
All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to take about a 5-minute pause, and I'm going to take a look at all the scores, and we'll get back in touch with you right about 5 minutes, actually about 5 minutes from now, but actually 10 minutes. So we'll get back together at 5 o'clock, and then we'll announce the winners. Reminder of you that the third place team, you get a chance to win $750, excuse me, $500 per person. The second place team, $750 per person. And the first place team, you will receive $1,000 per person. And I'll remind you of that again in just a few minutes. Again, we're going to take a break until 5 o'clock, and we will be right back with you then. Welcome back. And we are now, oh my gosh, the poor judges, they had a huge difficult time trying to figure out how to be able to score all of you guys. And in fact, unfortunately, I can't give everybody first place, but I really want to. So y'all all did a great job. And judges, thanks very much for coming back online. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be announcing the winners. And we're going to ask the winners of the team, we'll promote them back to panelists, and we'll ask them to show their video as I get a chance to announce it. So the team will be promoted and then I'll announce it. So team, keep your video off until I announce it and then turn your video on. And we're gonna get a chance to give you a virtual congratulations. Again, we'll be announcing a third place, a second place, and a first place team. And what we'll be doing then is the third place team will be receiving $500. So without further ado, the third place team is Team Terra. Congratulations, if y'all will come online.
Ganamos 500.
Congratulations, outstanding. Y'all did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, we just wanted to say thank you so much. We really appreciate the time and opportunity to present in front of y'all. We really appreciate your feedback and your insight and questions. And so, thank you.
Yeah, just to iterate that, this was an amazing experience. I'm really grateful we were able to participate in this weekend. Thank you.
Again, Team Terra, congratulations. And we will
Thank you for this opportunity.
Again, put y'all back into the panel and to the attendees, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, for those of you who are students, and as I had mentioned before, the second place team will win $750 apiece. So that you know this, students, we'll be placing these funds in your student account. It'll come and you'll see it in the next couple of days as scholarship funds. And that's the way that we are able to transfer those funds to you. So you will see those show up in your student accounts. And if you don't, please let us know, but I'm sure you will. We'll take care of that in the next few days and make sure that you're able to take care of everything. And we are in the process of making sure the next team, the second place team, is good to go before I get a chance to announce them. Oh, those, some of y'all are changing your names back. Don't change your names back yet, because otherwise we have a hard time knowing who you are. So don't change your names back yet. All right, so here we go. At least you see the second place team is Intelligence Incorporated. So Eric, I see you're there, so congratulations.
We worked 48 hours straight and we're just happy. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. We slept almost that much just to win. Thank you. We're good second place.
Okay, well, again, congratulations. Here we go. Here's a few more.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi was super slow back in the dorm, but thank you so much for this opportunity. I had so many takeaways from it.
Thank you so
again,
much.
One of the things that I know that everybody's hopeful that you'll get is you'll get at least an understanding about some of the things that the NSA actually does and some of the roles and some of the, and hopefully you'll be interested in some of the activities and things that the NSA does to help us and help the United States. So it's really important that you got a chance to take a look at some of those roles.
Thank you so much. And also thank you to the mentors. The mentors did a tremendous job at helping us and guiding us along the process and helping us understand the intelligence analyst role. So shout out to you guys.
All right, again, congratulations and good job on all of your presentations, and we look forward to seeing you. Don't forget about Engineering Inc. if you want to continue to develop your project. Okay, now we are waiting with bated breath for the first place team. And I know that everybody is anxious about making sure that we know who exactly the first place team is. again, I want to thank our judges as well as the mentors, both from Accenture and from the NSA. It has been a tremendous activity and tremendous. I've loved to have seen the interaction with the students and the interaction with us. What a fabulous set of people there is to give up the time that they did throughout the entire weekend to help us put this together. And it is simply an outstanding effort to allow us to be able to work with you. Without further ado, what we want to do is announce the first place team. And team, as I announce your name, if you will please come online and allow us to give you again a virtual congratulations. And the first place team is Lockdown.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Honestly, thank you all for the opportunity, and special thanks to our mentor, Nick, for giving us valuable insight and feedback throughout the course of the weekend over our project. But thank you again for taking the time to listen to us, and thanks for this opportunity.
All right, outstanding job, Team Lockdown. I guess I have to remind y'all that class starts again tomorrow morning. So get your homework done, and all of us are going to be headed back to our own jobs. And I'm sorry to bring that up. It's been a great weekend. However, the real answer is that your job is to graduate from here with an engineer degree. So we're really trying to make sure that everybody's ready to do that. So hopefully you get a chance to have a great time. And thank you again for all the participation. All the students have been fabulous, the judges, the mentors, and everybody involved. Thank you again. And this is Engineering Entrepreneurship. It's an Aggies event that has been specified by the National Security Agency. We've worked on some fascinating problems throughout the entire weekend, and we look forward to working with you again. If we can help you in any way in the future, please don't hesitate to contact us. We look forward to working with you again. Thank you, and have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you all again.
Rodney, thank you
so much.
too.
We had an excellent time and learned a ton of good information. So really appreciate all the time and effort y'all do in putting all this together. Thank you.
You're welcome. We enjoy it.
Thanks,
you
Rodney.
guys.
And
You did a
thanks,
great
Carla,
job.
for inviting
Thank
us.
you. Thanks, Carla. Thanks, Rodney.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
It was fun. Great job.
Yeah, wonderful experience. So glad that we're able to do this.
And congratulations, all the winners.
Yes,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Great job.
Great job.
All right, we're going to sign off now, and thank you all very much. Look forward to it. Send us an email or get in touch, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the weekend.
Thanks. Take care.